And okay, yeah. Okay, so yeah, no, I think like um we do live in a world that is very confusing and we do live in a world that's like very confusing. People are trying to figure out like what the truth is. People are and I don't know. I guess like my answer my he sees people looking for answers and he doesn't really do a good job of like answering to those individuals or revealing himself to the people who are like seeking after him. And even when he
People, when I'm on these different discussions, we're not supposed to say certain words. We have to say unaliving and all of this. And
yeah,
yet, scrolling through, and this is very disturbing to me. I've seen babies on here on TikTok as I scroll through.
yeah,
And this one, it was something, I don't know if it was in, maybe India or I'm not sure. But this babe, it was a little infant. And this woman was hitting the infant. She
yeah,
would look like maybe a nurse. Like it was just like, and she was trying to put an IV in or something. I mean, I've experienced things in my own life, even at the hospital, even with my partner. I experienced major injustice with my partner, how he passed. That still isn't, I don't have closure because of what the hospital did to me. When I saw him for the last time on um, a ventilator, you
yeah,
know, I couldn't even believe that I would see this man like in this state, that he was the most beautiful, strongest man to me. It was the worst thing. And this is what, this is, I mean, I've had to wrestle with all of this myself. I mean, mind you, I do believe in God, but I'm just like, I'm trying to make sense of this. Like, what exactly is going on here? Like, are we, to me, some people say that they, okay, and I don't say there's anything wrong with praying. Okay. I'm not going to say that, but, you can't pray for like certain things because, God is not intervening. What I can see here is God is not intervening, at least not at this time, not in 2026.
Yep.
There's no intervention here. There's no intervention.
I agree.
Like,
So where
yeah.
is he?
So
Like,
whatever's happening is,
You step back.
and then there's some people that talk about end times, whatever else. I mean, I don't rule that out either because the way I can see it is there's no intervention, at least now here in our time in 2026, for wherever we've gotten.
yeah,
And it's pretty tough. We go on these different discussions and people are, some people are, you have atheist people that are good, great people that are human being people that you can talk to. Then you have atheist people that are telling everybody to F off. Then you have
Mm.
Christians who are good people that are kind and helpful. And you have other Christians that are telling everybody they're going to hell. You know what I
yeah,
mean? So it's
yeah.
like you say, everything. I mean, uh, yeah, so it's, but I do know that evil exists. I do know that. And it's, evil is, look, let's try and look at it from this perspective for a quick second. I don't want to blabber on and not give anyone else a chance, but let's try and take it from this perspective too. If there is something else after this, right? And my partner's in that place, I hope, and I might go to that place, which is maybe similar to this place. I don't know. But uh, what I want him to, this is where it gets complex.
Moon, you got a lot of background noise.
Oh, I'm sorry about that. 1 second. Man, I'm
Okay.
outside. Give me a minute.
I'll just be quick. I'll wrap it up. This is where it gets real complex. Is it gets complex in this way where it's like I would want to be with my partner, all of him, like the way just him, his mind, his thoughts, his choices, and whatever, like without being guided to go maybe try it that way. And he was flawed. Okay. So he made some of his choices caused him, got the ball rolling for him to for not be here in this world. So, you're fixing the thing while I'm talking,
Oh
but yeah.
yeah,
So, but anyway, so what my point is that, you know, would I want all of him and him to have his own, faculties to be able to make his own choice without God intervening with him? Yeah. But then at the same time, how do we then solve the issue of the other people who are having their choices to be had and they're doing horrendous things. And you know what? I don't know. I mean, is God not knowing? Because we're just left here. It's like, so I do want to go to another place with the people and be able to have our own. I mean, I can make my own choices there. I'm not perfect, but I know I'm not going to go around killing people or whatever, in this next place. But, but, uh, but I certainly don't want the other ones there as well. But we have to give them a chance too, right? If they're going to get better and not do that sort of a stuff. So I have no idea. I think we're confused because we don't know you know, we don't know how in any way God is going to be able to deal with this. That's what I can see. How is God going to sort this? Because we're trying to put our brains to it too. We can't even come up with a solution ourselves. So we just hope that if there's God, you know, what a nice guy. This guy's lovely. He lets me talk and everything. You are really sweetheart. Thank
No,
you
I
so
mean,
much.
yeah. I'm
Yeah,
just
very
chilling.
nice.
I'm just
You just let
listening
me
to
share.
what you have to say. I'm pretty laid back for the most part.
Yeah, I'm going to join this again. Yes, you're a good listener. Thanks for letting me share.
Yeah, but also like first and foremost like yeah, sorry about everything that you had to go through.
Yeah.
That's not like really great. And yeah, like loss can be like very hard. So like yeah, first and foremost, sorry for everything that you went through. But also yeah, like divine hiddenness and like problem of evil is probably going to be like my two biggest arguments against like Christianity. Um,
Mm,
it just doesn't really make sense to me how like there are Christians that pray to God and they don't seem to get an answer and they end up leaving the faith. There are non-resistant non-believers who are open to God existing and they don't really get any signs or anything. And then when it comes to the Christians that do get signs that God exists, when I evaluate these signs, they are just as likely as like any other possible explanation, like coincidences or, maybe naturalism can give an explanation for it. And I'm not seeing anything that would motivate me to believe
evidence.
that it's
Yeah.
the Christian
Okay.
God rather than like
Yes.
naturalism or coincidences or something that would have happened if God didn't exist. And
Yeah.
yeah, like, so I don't really get through all of my arguments for this specific topic, but I would say divine hiddenness is probably going to be my argument for God being an absentee father, just simply him like not being around in any way that we can measure and like point at and say that's him and allowing for confusion in regards to like denominations or like Bible translations. In regards to him being like an irresponsible father, I think it's very irresponsible for him to uh, allow humans to spread his word, and that clearly has resulted in like a lot of Bible translations, denominations, and also this is especially irresponsible given the fact that like throughout the Bible, even the best prophets still made mistakes. Um,
Yeah.
in regards to him being like a horrible deadbeat dad, I mean, like he allows like a lot of evil to occur, not only to humans but to animals. And like in the Bible, he commits like massive genocides and like does a lot of horrific things. So I just don't really see God existing. And if he did exist, he would be a absentee, irresponsible, horrible deadbeat dad for like a lot of reasons.
Well, okay, with the so I've been doing a lot of research lately, uh like I have never done before. And I've been learning a little bit about the genocide option. Someone
Yeah.
just put in the chat there free will, but anyway, yeah, some people are putting some stuff there and
Oh,
commenting.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. But actually, before you continue, I can answer that too. Christians like
Mhm.
to say that like free will is the answer. Well, like that doesn't mean jack shit to me, right? And like it's just
Of
a
course.
really bad like response, right? Because when I look at the Bible, Jesus came down and he was literally God in man form. And he basically did a bunch of miracles in front of a bunch of people. He multiplied fish and bread, he cured the blind, he made the lame walk. He walked on water, turned water into wine, brought Lazarus back from the dead, cured leprosy, and he also corrected a lot of bad teachings in regards to his ministry. Right? He corrected the the
Pharisees.
yeah, the Pharisees a lot and told them that they were doing a lot of stuff wrong. He called people like dogs and demons and all sorts of stuff and corrected people, right?
But
Well,
he
yeah,
And
hold on a
also
second.
got, when he corrected
Pardon?
the Pharisees were like, you can't correct us. You're not the son of God. You
Yeah,
aren't.
yeah, yeah. But also given all of that,
Because
right?
they no wait. Because
Wait,
they
hold on,
thought
wait. Let me finish my point, right? So, sure, yeah, he corrected the Pharisees. The Pharisees doubted him or whatever, but he did all of these
yeah.
miracles,
Do
and
you do you
and
know why
certain
they
people.
doubted
Wait,
him though?
hold on. He did all of these miracles, and certain people doubted him, but they still had the free will to either believe in him or not believe in him. And God was down on earth doing miracles and correcting people. So
Hmm.
people saying that if God came down and stopped certain evils or did certain things or corrected people, it would take away free will. That's not the case because God did all of these miraculous things, died on the cross, and after
Yep.
people still chose to turn away from him despite seeing all of the miracles firsthand.
Plato kind of predicted that one.
Well, can I just want to make a quick one?
Yeah,
So I'm looking into a lot of these different things too.
yeah.
And what I've been finding is that a lot of the genocides and all of those type of things in the Bible, quite a number of them are actually fictional and they
I
didn't
would say
actually
so.
exist. Pardon?
Yeah, yeah, I would also agree. Typically when I
Yeah.
say God is bad for doing those things, if God I'm granting the Christian worldview and doing an internal critique,
Wait,
if God actually existed and did those things, it would be absolutely horrific.
are you
Yeah, see, that's
saying
the
that
thing
the
though,
Spanish
right?
Inquisition is just made up?
No, I'm saying that the things in the Bible are made up and
In the
unsubstantiated.
Old Testament, yes, there are quite a
Oh, okay,
number of
okay. The
things
Old
that I'm
Testament.
learning.
Okay, okay, okay.
Yes, like these, yeah, because what I'm learning is that the Old Testament, so it's kind of like a progressive thing I'm learning too. That we look back, we read stuff from the Old Testament, we're like, the annihilation and genocides. A lot of times in that time period, they would attribute everything to God. They didn't
Yeah,
have,
yeah.
not saying that people, today believe in the devil, but at that time they didn't really attribute the things to Satan or evil. Everything was God. So if somebody was, if there was a genocide or there was it's even that some of them are a story. It's a story about it, but some of them are real things that happen, natural disasters, whatever. They would attribute everything to God. Every in evil things too. If something happened with people or murder, they would say that was God's wrath. Everything was, later on became other concepts. Jesus, when came in these writings, right? Because some people don't believe in Jesus either, but in these writings
Which
gave
are kind of
perspective, different perspective. Now the thing is, if we look at it, right? If we look at all of this from the timeline, right? We look at Old Testament, we look at history, we look at major violence of humans in that time period, and maybe some growing, some, I don't know. We have come a long way in many ways, human beings. But if we really look at it from then to now, and we see, all these things that happened, and this came. I mean, if you believe that, if someone believes that, or because people they dispute that as well, right? You have to have different points to prove it. But anyway, if it was, we are in a pretty serious time right now. Like
indeed.
it's not and I only know this as well because of my personal experience of losing my partner. So that was for me, like I won't say that to you or anyone else, but for me, he was I don't know how to describe it. Like that was the worst, like most significant thing. And I lost my dad as well. But this was a major change, transformation in my life. And I see things very differently now, right? And I'm looking at all of this and I don't know if you guys see it, but there's something really shifting here in our world. Like
Spiritually. Yep.
yeah, and also not
Yep.
only that, just all of us having these conversations. Like I don't look at this like some Christians would look at this topic here and what he's put here and they'd be defensive or they'd be maybe aggressive or upset by his statements. But I just see it as it's like, if we are in a time
Curiosity.
right now where this is happening and he's feeling like, where are you, God? Like this is you're responsible for allowing this, and then I don't see that as an issue to speak out and say it. But we're living in a time where people don't want us to express ourselves and say the truth. I mean, the truth is what's happening to these children in today's times, 2026, for what we're seeing in our life, with everything we've learned, with the Old Testament, with all this different information we have, with everything we've learned, and human beings are still conducting this kind of, this is what's going, yeah, he's right. A cry out to say, like, I think we're supposed to be doing this. I think we're supposed to be speaking out and
Yeah,
saying, like, what's going on? This is not okay. This
yeah.
is not okay. You know what I mean? That's
Hmm.
just so that's yes. Anyway, go ahead, Moo.
But go
I'll
ahead,
just
move.
mute myself.
I mean, you're good.
I totally forgot what I was gonna say, to be honest.
Oh, do you have any contentions with the topic on the screen? Are you a Christian?
Not. I don't even know how to explain that. I'm a believer in Christ. I'm a
Okay.
believer that Yeshua was God in human form. Yeah.
Oh, well, why do you believe that? I don't believe that Jesus was God. I believe he existed.
You believe he existed. Oh, at least there's that. Some people don't.
You know,
Do you
like
have
why do you
evidence?
believe he was God?
Well, the eyewitness accounts.
From where?
From what do you mean from where?
Based off of my notes, there was no eyewitness accounts. Everything is second or third person.
Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John.
I mean, according to
The the
church.
the, the okay. Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John.
Yeah.
Definitely, two of them are written by themselves.
I
Two of them
mean,
aren't. Are their
I
second account?
wouldn't.
You're right.
Like, I wouldn't grant any of the gospels as being first-hand accounts.
Why do you say that?
I ask you because you said that you believe that you do believe that Jesus did exist.
Give me one second.
But some people don't. I'm just curious because you seem to be a very researching type, and what brings you to that conclusion? I'm curious. Why do you believe that Jesus existed?
Okay, give me one sec. I'm pulling up my notes actually.
Yes, no
Um,
problem.
yeah, I've taken some notes on this and I'm ready to test them out.
I might actually write them down. I'm gonna get my pen.
Let's see, my beliefs,
Mhm.
beliefs in the resurrection. Okay, so okay, my investigation of the resurrection. So when it comes to the Gospels are it's only by church tradition that the Gospels are claimed to be written by who they say that they're written by, right? Outside of that, like scholars, like especially Bart Ehrman, I read his blog. He would say that they're written
Okay.
anonymously. Um,
Sorry,
I
what
mean,
is
like
that name? I'm just gonna
Bart
write it down.
Bart
Bart.
Ehrman,
Okay.
BART, and
Yep.
ERH.
I think it's EHR.
Oh, E wait, EHR?
EHRMAN.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
But yeah, like Bart Ehrman would say that they're written anonymously, and most scholars would say that they're written anonymously. It's only like church tradition that would
But
say that they're written by their namesakes.
and like
Um,
No, I'm not gonna say that they're written by their name, man. Because two of
but
them
like
aren't, definitely.
it's
oh,
such
but
an
like
it's
I
such
wouldn't grant any of them. I think all of them are written anonymously because typically when we look at like other pieces,
Anonymously.
yeah, typally when we look at other pieces of literature, the
Mhm.
writers are going to indicate that it was them that wrote the literature. But when it comes to the Gospels, none of them indicate that they're writing the literature or giving the testimony for those Gospels.
How do you see that?
Well,
Um,
that's okay. I just wanted to hear his. Can you just give him a chance? Because I really want to hear what his what he does believe that Jesus existed. I'm curious to hear what because he's done research. What points to that. His existence. Because I'm wondering if you might have something that I haven't heard before on because there are quite a few people who say he didn't exist. So if you do feel that he did exist, he was here. Like, did you do some reading on that or any type of inscriptions or anything that?
yeah. Okay, so like typically before, okay, so Sorry, my brain's a little bit slow today. But before I did any research, I granted that Jesus existed because so many people have written about him, and so like, and also like, given the event itself, right? Like, I think it's very well possible there could have been a man that walked the earth that was named Jesus during that time. That's not a
Actually,
problem.
no.
Say
His
what?
name was not Jesus.
Oh, well, of course, yeah. Like his name wasn't actually Jesus. Yeah, I know some people. If you do deeper study, it was something else. But
Yeshua.
yeah, yeah, it's pretty close to Jesus. Yeah, it should be. It
No,
should
it's
be.
not even
I mean,
close.
it's like the same difference
Yeah,
as
but
like
we
Saint
we
Nick
don't
or
have to
like Santa
nitpick
Claus.
at the name of the guy. I mean, a lot
Either
of people
way,
do that.
either way. You're right. Yeah.
Yeah, but given that like it's very well possible for a man to exist named Yeshua, especially during that time, he was basically just like a Jewish rabbi. I can grant that. What I don't grant is like the miracles, right? The miracles become like less possible. There are things that defy the laws of physics, and so the probability goes down for that. And I don't really have much evidence of him doing like miracles. I don't have any firsthand accounts of him doing miracles. But I used to grant that Jesus existed prior to doing any research because a lot of people, wrote about him and like it's very well possible someone named Jesus or Yeshua could exist during that time. But after doing some research, typically two people that I refer to is that, Josephus writes about Jesus and Tacitus writes
Mhm.
about Jesus and Christians being persecuted. And so
Okay.
I can grant that Jesus exists. I just don't grant that he's divine. Now,
Okay.
go ahead.
I mean, like also
What?
like it seems like such an extreme claim that he like resurrected from the dead, and I just there's so few claims like that I would accept, and let alone that I would accept if the only evidence was like a few eyewitness testimonies that were like
A
a couple
few.
thousand years old.
Yeah, and also like
Wait. You're saying a few. Do
Yeah,
you know how many actually saw him though?
no, I'm talking about the testimonies.
Yeah.
I
Do you know
understand that
how?
within the testimonies, like there's a claim that like hundreds of people seen them, but we don't have hundreds of testimonies, right?
Not to your knowledge, there are
Right.
testimonies beyond that.
I would
No,
disagree
but
with you.
I'm
I
a
don't think
testimony is like when an individual writes something down. Do we have hundreds of individuals who wrote stuff down saying that they saw Jesus resurrect?
I'm pretty sure there's testimonies out there.
I would
Well,
say
how
that there's
many
not.
exactly were there? I mean,
There isn't.
that's a good question.
500.
Yeah,
Yeah, but
so
we don't have
Do
yeah.
they know
testimonies
for
from those
sure? Did they
500.
prove that? I
Wait,
mean,
hold on. So like this is actually my favorite part. We don't have 500 testimonies. What we have is Paul, who used to be a Christian murderer who converted
Yeah.
to Christianity, and
So why would?
all Paul is saying is what the church told him. Paul does not have any personal experience in regards to like the resurrection.
Right.
Paul had some vision in the desert, and basically the church told him that 500 people saw Jesus resurrect from the dead. And also, when it comes to that 500 number, some scholars would say that like this is just an added detail to bolster up Paul's claims. We're not even sure about this detail. It could just be creedal.
So
Yeah.
why would Paul? Why would Paul write that though?
Moon,
Paul
can
is
I ask
just
you
He
this?
converted to Christianity.
yeah,
Moon,
Paul converted to Christianity, and he's just a mouthpiece for the church. He's just
Right, but he's a
regurgitating what people
murderer
are.
of Christians. He was a
Moon.
murderer of Christians.
Well,
Yes,
can I
until
ask
he
Moon
had
a question?
an experience in the desert where he
An
almost died,
encounter.
and he was like, "Oh no, he almost died in the desert," and then was like,
well,
"Oh, I've probably been living my life the wrong way,
Wait,
Yeah,
can I
killing
ask
people."
Moon a
He had an
question?
encounter with
I'm
God.
curious about the non-biblical sources that he was referencing.
but
That to me catches my attention. So
But there are no
I've heard of
non-biblical
Josephus, but
sources. There are no
okay,
non-biblical sources that
In
claim
Egypt.
that Jesus was divine. That's all going to be in the Bible.
it's all gonna be
well,
yeah.
I think Josephus, he said,
No, Josephus just
No,
said that there was a dude named Christ that a bunch of people worshipped.
but
Yeah,
Moon,
That's
do
it.
you believe
well,
Egypt,
Josephus
Moon?
is not in the Bible, though.
India.
He's not in the
he's
Right,
Bible.
He was
right.
a Jewish
But
historian.
yeah.
Josephus does not
So
claim that Jesus was divine.
yeah. So Josephus is just saying that like Jesus existed and people followed him, but he
Okay.
doesn't
He
say
doesn't
anything
even
about like
really he
miracles.
doesn't even really claim Jesus existed. He just says Christ for who what is it? Or am I thinking of Tacitus? Which one is he says like Christus for or Jesus for who Christus is named, right? Like he says there's this claim that there's this dude named Jesus, and there was a claim that he was a great man, but he doesn't even verify that Jesus was a real person.
Yeah, and actually, now that I'm reading it like in my notes, it says that some scholars would say that like Christian scribes altered his testimony and said like
Most do, yeah. That Josephus is at. I mean, it's 2 lines. He has 2 lines in his entire body of work about Jesus.
yeah, it's like a whole book, and he only writes like in a couple paragraphs, or I guess like yeah. Oh, someone's only paragraphs. It might just be 2 lines.
He writes two. It's 2 lines about Christ in his entire body of work,
Yeah.
Are there any
which just seems
independent
weird for a
sources?
Jewish scholar to.
Do you guys know of
not.
any independent sources?
That
Josephus
claimed
would be an
Jesus.
independent
That claimed
source.
Jesus was
In the
divine.
first, pardon?
That claimed Jesus was divine.
Or,
No, no, I'm not really looking at that aspect at this point.
You should
There's-
look up
yeah, I'm
letters to
looking at-
Trajan.
Pardon?
Trajan. Letters to Trajan.
Okay.
But,
I'm gonna
I
write
mean,
this
like the
down.
question of whether Jesus Christ existed is kind of less
Letters to
interesting
Trajan.
because
It's
like
non-biblical.
there's been plenty of people who have existed that claim to be God or claim to have knowledge from God. Like Jesus wouldn't be unique in that way. The question is like, is Jesus God, and like what evidence do we have for that? And if it's just like some eyewitness testimonies that are thousands of years old, it just doesn't seem like that would be strong enough to like convince a reasonable person.
yeah,
I also
I
just
think-
think if we're looking at like what evidence we have of any of this, and we pull up evidence written hundreds of years after his supposed death, that's not really any like just because somebody
100?
wrote like most of these people are writing Bible tales. They're not writing anything more than what they've been
Right.
told in the Bible.
But like Moon, do you believe that like if somebody flew across the ocean without like and just their body, just their naked body, if they just flew across the ocean, like would that be miraculous in your eyes?
That would be. I would be impressed, dude. I would be like, whoa, this guy has some.
Would it be miraculous? Like would it like meaning there's no natural explanation for somebody without a jetpack or any sort of plane just like flying across the ocean?
There would be some power to it, yeah.
Yeah.
But
So
The thing is,
if
you
I
know
told
what?
you if I told you I witnessed that, like would you believe me?
Right, but
I would feel like there's some truth to it.
Just if I told you
well,
that?
you know what? Can I just jump? I just want to say
But, like I mean
this doesn't
just one
exist in
sec-
our time.
Just one
you
second,
know,
like just
Oh,
one
yeah,
second.
yeah.
So I mean, if like if your barrier to believe something is just one person telling you it happened,
One
like
person.
we obviously yeah, just me. Like I'm asking you, like if I just
500.
told you, okay, if I told you that me and 500 people witnessed somebody flying across the ocean, would you
Yo,
believe me?
dude, I would be like, whoa, 500 people? That's crazy.
Wait,
'Cause-
Moon, you're not understanding. You're not understanding. 500 people aren't telling you this. He
It's
is
just
telling
me.
you that 500 people told
It's
him.
just Sino telling you that.
No, that's a
me
little
and-
bit different though. Because
Okay, so what would you
500
ask-
people
what would
are
you ask to see?
eyewitnesses.
But what would you ask to see in order to believe that somebody flew across the ocean?
What do you mean?
Like, what evidence would you ask to see in order to believe the claim that a man flew across the ocean unaided?
To believe the claim?
yeah,
Yeah,
but
like
the
what
thing
would
is,
it take? What would it take for you to believe that?
Let
Yeah.
Jenny. Jenny,
okay, I'll
you-
answer. Yeah.
yeah.
The thing I see about this,
Well, Jenny, do you believe that Jesus Christ resurrected from the dead?
I do.
Okay, so what would it take for you
Yeah,
to believe that a man flew across the ocean?
Well, I'm living in a different time. I
You just-
don't
it
rule out.
doesn't. You don't need to preface it. Just let me know what it would take for you to believe.
like, well, what evidence would you need to believe a man flew across the ocean with no help of like airplanes or anything? Just his body
No
flew.
jetpack, just body flapping his arms.
Yo, I think I'd have to be
well,
Thomas,
I would
dog.
need the evidence that I would need for something like that, if it was related to God and eternal
No,
and everything like that.
it's just
I
an
would need
event.
faith. I would need that individual to request faith on behalf of myself, first of
Okay,
all,
so
and
what
and
is
point to
faith?
the importance of faith and morals and all of
Jenny,
these
this
different
is
things.
such a non-answer to the question.
And then I would need other people to give me if I was living at the time of this individual who flew across the ocean, I would need and I had the opportunity because it was during my lifetime. Then if it was during my lifetime, then maybe I would, if I had that opportunity to
Okay,
go
this is
and
so
witness
there's a detail.
witness that, right? It would be a
There's a
witness.
detail I forgot to tell you. It's actually
Okay.
a couple hundred years ago that it happened.
Okay, it's a couple hundred years ago, so it was not in my lifetime. This.
No,
And
Well,
it's
we'd have to
basically
travel
I'm gonna
back
get
not
to
a man
I
who.
Wait, wait,
Okay.
wait, 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 wait. It's super simple. 20 years ago, 20 to 30 years ago, this dude I never met flew across the ocean, and I know for a fact 500 people saw him. Do you believe me that he flew across the ocean?
could I have the
So yeah, but
eyewitnesses?
you're comparing a dude you never met to Jesus that's been way
This
more
is
than
the
500
claim. The
years.
claim was the
It's been
claim of
since the first
500
century.
people. The claim of
Yeah.
500 witnesses came from Paul, a person who never met Jesus.
Yeah, but Paul never met Jesus. Paul was
But
never
he
there.
met the 500.
Wait,
That
hold
No,
is
on,
he
hold
true.
on. Wait, hold on. I'm not
I
even
agree
sure.
with that statement.
Wait, hold on. I'm
I
not even
will.
sure if I'm not even sure if Paul met the 500. Paul is
He
simply
didn't.
just Paul is simply
Well,
just telling what the church is telling him. Paul never met Jesus. He didn't see the resurrection. He, to be honest with you, I think Paul is like mentally deranged. He
but
like spent years murdering Christians, and like he's psychologically unstable and like not well. And then he almost dies in the desert and decides to convert to Christianity and just be a mouthpiece
Because you
for
had an
for
encounter?
Coco, I don't think that's quite as important as the fact that we have two separate claims and we have equal evidence for both. And it seems like these people are more inclined to believe the claim that Jesus Christ resurrected over the claim that this man flew across the ocean, even though the evidence is the same.
It's not really the same at
Okay,
all.
what's different about the
Speaking
evidence
about a man
for the
that flew
flying
across
man?
the ocean compared to
What's the
Jesus
difference?
Christ, who
Compared
has
to a man
been
who came
handed
back from the
down
dead.
from centuries, all the way from since one before 1 AD.
Wait,
You
how
know,
does that make
and
it more likely to be true? Because the evidence for the flying man, it happened hundreds of years ago, and it's been passed down through those centuries.
well, actually, there has been no evidence of any flying man ever spoken
Mhm.
of. To be
No, I'm
honest, it's just
I'm
something
telling
that's
you,
you know.
it's a
In this
claim. It's a claim.
hypothetical,
Yeah, it's a thought. It is a thought experiment. But I'm telling you, if there was this claim, and it was written down, and it had been passed through centuries, even we can even say it's been passed through 2,026 years, and it's just been passed down through the centuries. Like, would you believe it then?
honestly, I would think it would have to do something with God.
Okay, sure. So this guy is
Yeah,
saying
but it
that
didn't
the
happen.
claim.
We're just talking
Okay,
hypothetical here, so
Yep. Yep.
you know what I
but
mean?
okay, but I'm asking you to step inside of the thought experiment to examine what your requirements are for believing things. And if your requirement for believing things is that it's passed down through thousands of years, doesn't really. I don't really see the reasoning in that.
Thousands of
If that's the
years without
requirement, why not believe in
change.
like Muhammad?
Yeah, and
Muhammad,
keep in mind, by the way, this flying man claimed to be the one true Son of God. So it
I just
actually,
want
look,
to I just want
look.
to mention. Wait. Just to mention, we actually know who the witnesses of Muhammad are. They were recorded. They were
well,
like
let's not get
Muhammad is
sidetracked too much.
contemporary
We also
witnesses.
know who the witnesses of Yeshua were too.
No, we don't.
We
But
don't.
hold
Yeah, we
on,
do.
you guys, let's not veer too far away from the thought experiment. So we have in this thought experiment, let's say it
Two
happened 2,000 years
fishers,
ago,
a doctor.
and the flying man also claimed to be the Son of God, so the one true Son of God. So now we have a direct contradiction, but the evidence is equal. So how would you guys
Well, I'm going to
decide?
agree with partially with what they're saying because if you there's no of the 500 witnesses. Okay, there are no these 500 witnesses did not write down their
No, neither for
testimonies.
Jesus
Neither did
Christ or
Jesus.
the
So
flying man.
so Paul's testimony is the only direct testimony
Yeah,
of
and
evidence.
we have Bob's
You
testimony
know,
for the flying man.
it
Okay.
does not mean that it's not true. I'm not going to say it's not true, but I am going to agree that it does become very difficult to corroborate this when
Now,
there's not there. But
in
we
this
do know there's
exact
other people,
scenario,
right? And we do know
like
that
in
he was
this
crucified,
hypothetical,
right?
So, and any piece of evidence you give me
in
for the
this
Is that
resurrection,
correct?
hypothetical
I could
of
just attach to the flying man.
in this
So, like,
hypothetical of the flying man, let's say that,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
Let's say from when this hypothetically flying man
yeah, 2,000
came
years
into
ago.
existence, right, 2000 years ago. Let's say that the people who saw him wrote it down.
Yeah, there was one guy who saw it directly.
But
His name's Bob.
Bob, let's
Yeah,
say Bob wrote it down.
he also wrote down that 500 people witnessed it.
Oh, all right.
Yeah.
Now, hear me out. In your hypothetical, would Bob have gotten that right, or would Bob have gotten
No,
that wrong?
I
Like, well, let's say
personally, I don't believe it. It just seems ridiculous that I
no, in the
I know men don't
hypothetical, like I'm
fly.
saying, yeah, in the hypothetical, like let's say Bob got that, like he's flying, right? let's
No,
say
Bob is
over the
witnessing a
2,000
flying.
years. Yeah. Like he's like, yeah, no, he's writing down like he's flying. Oh my gosh,
Yeah,
he's flying. This guy's
yeah,
flying without any jetpack, without any like sort of
yeah,
device,
yeah.
right?
Do you believe him?
I would
Okay.
if through over the 2,000 years, and we could do the literal like
Yeah.
literary translation.
Okay. Over the
If we
2,000
can
years,
do
what?
that, if we can do the literary translation, that it hasn't changed at all,
Okay. So the claim is so in order for you to believe something, a claim
or at
needs to be
least has
2,000 years
changed
old
to the
and not
minimum.
change. Okay. So in order for you to believe the claim, it needs to have not changed over 2,000 years.
Okay, did you hear my last statement?
Yeah, or changed like minimum or something like that.
I
Very,
would.
very minimally.
Yeah. Okay.
What?
So to reiterate, Bob's claim is that 2,000 years ago, a man flew across the ocean and he claimed to be the one true Son of God. And Bob
Right.
also claimed that 500 others witnessed it. So
Right.
that claim has not changed over 2,000 years. So you're willing to believe that claim,
Yeah.
even though it directly contradicts the claim that Jesus Christ is the one true Son of God.
Yo, if you can, if you have more eyewitnesses,
Witnesses,
that
if you
because
have
like,
witnesses.
yeah,
Okay,
if you
You're
have
saying
more
if there are people that
eyewitnesses,
actually witnessed this.
We can
then one
we can
Bob
tie
person,
this
Bob,
to
you know?
we can tie
So
this very
Bob's-
easily to a real world example, right? We have
Go ahead.
written down eyewitness testimony of mermaids. Do you believe in mermaids?
Yes,
I haven't seen that ever anywhere.
easily, yes.
Well, hold on.
They're called sirens.
No, I'm just saying. No, don't. No, I'm just saying I
You
haven't.
believe in
I've never
mermaids,
seen
my
it.
guy? Wait, hold on.
I mean, it
pause.
seems like
Do
this
you
is
want me
just-
to? Do you want me to explain why?
You
No,
believe in
see, this is why we
mermaids?
should just
Do you
stick
want me
with
to
the
explain
thought
why?
experiment.
No, I
Half-Jew,
don't. I do not
half-Jew.
believe in it.
Do you?
No, I
Do you
haven't
want me to
seen it.
explain
I've
why?
never seen such a
Oh,
thing.
no, Moon does. That's crazy, my guy.
Do you want me to
Like,
explain
what?
why?
Sure,
Do you
go
want me to
ahead.
explain why?
Yeah.
So in the book of Enoch, which is in the Bible, it was taken out. But in the book of Enoch, it talks about women who slept with Nephilim. Nephilim are giants.
Yeah. Wait.
God-
no,
God
wait,
says-
Fully believes giants are real.
wait, because
course.
the Bible
Well,
says
it could have been large
something.
men.
Wait,
Might have
hold
been
on.
large men. It didn't mean actual giants. It could have been large men, very
Wait,
large
hold
men.
on,
Have you-
hold on. Wait, pause real
Have
quick.
you heard?
Wait. You've got to question these things. You just believe
I
something
have.
exists because the Bible said it existed?
I've done my research on giants. I've done my research on titans. I've done my
Wait,
research on
we're not
Nephilim.
talking about giants. We're talking about mermaids.
This is what it all connects back to. The Bible.
Yeah. All right. But okay, wait, let's put a pin in that. Let me say something.
Yeah,
and then
maybe we should
I
go
have
back to the
talk.
flying man.
Yeah, I have to talk to the other guest. But the reason that I don't think that church tradition is going to say that the Gospels were written by their namesakes, right? But the reason that I don't believe that the Gospels were written by their namesakes, I don't grant a single Gospel being written by their namesake, is because yesterday I took notes on like Bart Ehrman's blog. He's a famous biblical scholar. And usually when you see like testimonies in other parts of the Bible, the testimonies are typically like signed or not signed, but like the authors identify themselves. Examples include Paul, Peter, James, and Jude. And most of the later Gospels, but yeah, typically, Paul, Peter, James, and Jude, they identify themselves. When it comes to the Gospels aren't signed and the Gospel authors don't identify themselves. And Bart Ehrman says that one reason could be because maybe the authors didn't want to put their name out there because they didn't want their name to interfere with their work. But that's not necessarily the case, because that couldn't possibly be the case given Paul, Peter, James, and Jude. And these names that were attributed to the Gospels.
Oh yeah, that's right. Luke wasn't written by Luke. That's right. Luke was not
Well, it
written by
doesn't
Luke.
matter. It doesn't. It
Luke was
doesn't
written by a
matter.
doctor.
Well,
I'd have
yeah,
to check that,
look.
but really quick, also like another
Oh.
thing is like these Gospels are dated. Earliest one you're gonna get is Mark, which is like 30 years. And the names were added like
Of
way
course.
later. I would assume that the names were attributed to these Gospels during the time that Irenaeus mentions the name of these Gospels, which is during the 2nd century. And it's safe to say that's when the namesakes were attributed to the Gospels. So the Gospels were found, the Gospels were written, and it's only until the 2nd century that we then add the names onto them, but only because Irenaeus says so. And why should I trust Irenaeus? Why should I trust church tradition?
Well,
This is why we
okay.
read the red letters.
Paul,
That doesn't
no,
mean anything.
Paul
We don't
actually,
trust. I don't trust the church.
there
Man.
are external, there are other, okay, I haven't really studied into the other ones that you're speaking of, but Paul, there is evidence that Paul was a really, there is other evidence. Okay, hold on, I got to get my notes.
Like what?
I'm not about to crash out. My eyes just hurt. My eyes are like really weak.
For
Famous last
example,
words right before crash out.
Swear. Swear.
do you know about the Pauline Creed?
Yes, the Corinthians
Wait a
Creed.
minute.
That's actually dated pretty early. Scholars are going to say that's dated 3 to 5 months. But let me check my notes. I
2
have
to
it
5
on-
years of the crucifixion. Yeah.
Wait, hold
But
on.
I was going to ask you, do you believe if you believe Jesus exists? Now, you don't believe in the divinity aspect. Do you believe that the crucifixion happened? Do you believe
Yeah,
that part?
so
Not in the way it's
So-
claimed.
yeah, hold on. So
The host,
one
I'm
sec.
asking.
Most scholars would say that the Corinthians Creed is dated 2 to 5 years, and then the only people that you get is like James Dunn would say that it's written a couple months after Jesus, and Richard Carrier would say that it's
Oh.
dated a couple months after Jesus.
Oh, really?
Um,
Let me write those down. Richard
but-
Carrier.
Hey,
Couple
But,
months.
but
Okay.
that's for the Corinthians Creed. But maybe I'm getting it
Okay.
mixed up with what you're talking about. You're talking about the Marcionian Creed, according to what Prince. What did you say
No,
before?
no, the Pauline Creed. I
the
was just
Pauline
going to
Creed.
mention that.
did this guy
But I
really
also
just
want to
say
talk
there's
to you
no
about.
proof of a cross or a tone?
Pardon?
There's
Are you
not.
kidding me? Are you kidding me?
The
There
Pauline
isn't.
Creed. The Pauline Creed.
Pardon?
There's
Are you
not.
kidding me? Are you kidding me?
The
There
Pauline
isn't.
Creed. The Pauline Creed is referring to the Corinthians Creed, right? That Paul wrote, or
Yeah,
Paul
yes.
is writing in his letters about the Corinthians Creed.
Yeah, yes, that's right. And then I was wondering also about one other thing. I don't know if you wrote this one down yet.
Tomb of Josephus.
Regarding Paul. Where is it? Where in the world is it? It's the inscription. There's an inscription by I don't know. You might know the name of it was an emperor at the time. I think Galileo or something.
Galilee.
Yes, and I think that I mean I can't speak about the other. Oh yeah, I can't speak about the other apostles, is it, or disciples? But I can speak about Paul. That there are some other archaeological things. The Galileo inscription, which was in, but that's actually, yeah, that's 51 to 52 AD. That one. So I think there are some things that do corroborate Paul, but I haven't found anything at this point to. And I don't know about the name. I mean, it does. So Paul was a real man that existed, but I don't know if his name was actually Paul. You know what I mean? But
You're talking about
Hey,
you're talking about the Delphi inscription,
yes,
which is
yes,
the Galileo. It's the Galileo inscription.
yeah.
And
Mm-hmm.
it's based off of. Okay, yeah, I have to look more into this, but yeah, that's a thing. I just have to look into it.
And then I mean, there's a lot. Yeah, there's just absolutely so much. Because like I'm also learning about like this. I don't know if you've heard of this other one. I mean, I'm kind of jumping all over. Don't mind me, everyone, but I'm just learning this too. There's this man named. Did you hear of this man named Nero, who was
I've
in
heard
like
I've heard of Nero.
a very like horrible man that apparently like was killing Christians. After I think it was after the crucifixion, like he was setting them on fire or something, and just like going around terrorizing and killing Christian people.
Yeah, but what do you
So-
what do you have in your notes about him? Like, what's his
Oh, I don't
significance?
have a lot on him actually. I have to look back on that. But I mean, this is like that's what I mean. This is like just never ending. It's like
Yeah,
so many different people and so many different testimonies, you know? Like you have to like really
yeah.
get a file folder, you know what I mean? And
Oh,
just
oh yeah. Like, let me show you guys something really quick. But here, hold on. But no, like, yeah, I know what you're talking about. I love talking about this and like learning about it. And like,
oh, awesome.
as we're having this conversation, I literally have everything written in a doc. There's this doc that I call my beliefs in regards to the resurrection of Jesus Christ, and it's my investigation on the resurrection. And so, yeah, I'm writing down like a lot of stuff here. Um,
Oh,
whenever
wow.
whenever I told you earlier that the Corinthians Creed is dated by some within months after Jesus, I have it right
Mm-hmm.
here. Two names that you want to remember is James Dunn. James Dunn says that's written within months, and there's like a link to the article. Then there's
Right.
Richard Carrier, who says that it's dated within months of Jesus, and there's a link to the article. And then
But
yeah,
do they have good, I mean, have you seen their actual evidence? Like, I know they write that, but have you actually taken a peek into how they can corroborate it by chance or?
they're
And
scholars. But yeah, I could
okay.
look deeper into their work for sure. But
Yeah.
yeah, I've
I wrote
noted
their
some of the
names down
articles.
too. So
Yeah.
I'll definitely do my due diligence as well. Um, but I'm
But
surprised that you've also heard about this Galileo because not a lot of people talk about that, you
oh, I
know?
haven't. I actually haven't heard of this artifact, but I've heard of like other things. But
Yeah. Because people actually, I mean, I've been on different lives and discussions where people, you know, there's a lot of claims being put out, right? I mean, things like that Paul, I don't know, the things about like that there was no Christians in the first. I've been hearing all sorts of things. I've been hearing that Jesus has already returned in 70 AD. I've been hearing that people are saying that Paul, you know, that what was it? Oh, there were no Christians in the first century, you know, which I just how can that be if there was that, you know, Nero individual that was um unaliving. I have to use the proper language here. If there was that Nero man that was unaliving millions of Christians, right?
yeah, that was
Then
so
then
was Paul.
obviously, pardon?
Same thing with Paul. I think they have like similar stories, but I don't know. Maybe Nero unalived more people.
Yeah, I just, you know what? I went all this time. I didn't even really know a lot about Paul either. I've also been looking into that and real and learning that he was very violent man, you
Yeah.
know, and he was yeah,
Actually,
unaliving lots
do you want
at one
verses in the
point.
Bible where Paul writes himself that he was very violent towards Christians?
Well, coincidentally,
Yeah, I've seen some of that, which is
the witness of the
astonishing, you know?
coincidentally the witness of the flying man was also violent towards flying man believers.
Yeah, but basically when it comes to like Bible verses that are saying that like Paul was violent, Paul writes in Galatians chapter 1 verse 13. He says exactly, "For you have heard of my former life in Judaism, how I persecuted the church of God violently and tried to destroy it." In First
Mhm.
Corinthians chapter 15 verse 9, he says, "For I am the least of the apostles, unworthy to be called an apostle because I persecuted the church of God." In Philippians chapter 3 verse 6, it says, or Paul writes, "As to zeal, a persecutor of the church; as to righteous under the law, blameless." Um, and then
So
in
what was
Acts,
his reason for, I mean, what, after all that, what was his reason for converting? Like,
okay, okay, okay.
was he all faith?
Okay, this is
Or,
my favorite part. So Paul's conversion is weird.
okay.
He persecutes the church, and he's writing in areas, and other people are writing about how he would drag people out of their homes and persecute
Hmm.
Christians. And then one day, Paul goes on a journey on the road to Damascus. During this
Okay.
journey, he sees a bright light and he hears a voice, and the voice says, "I am Jesus, and why are you persecuting my people?" And from that point on, Paul is blinded for 3 days, but he does regain his sight, and he ends
Hmm.
up converting and meeting up with the disciples in another area. The reason that I don't
Oh,
believe this to be a genuine conversion, the reason I don't believe that Paul actually saw Jesus is because Paul never met Jesus. Paul never met Jesus. Paul doesn't know what Jesus looks like or sounds like. And essentially, he sees a light and hears a voice. Now, Paul is a murderer of Christians, and we know scientifically that murder can make people go insane. Like when people murder people, it changes your psychology. It can be very traumatizing. And so he murders a lot of Christians. He then goes on a trip to the road to Damascus, and it could possibly be the case that Paul is feeling guilty, almost dies, is really dehydrated, and he's looking at the sun, and he hears this voice because of his dehydration, his mental you know, he's mentally fucked up from murdering tons of Christians. And so he hears a voice, he's looking at the sun, and the sun causes him to go blind for 3 days. And the voice he hears is just illusionary due to him being dehydrated and psychologically messed up by murdering Christians. And then he meets up with the disciples, and that explains his vision.
That's infallible though,
How so?
because if you think about it, what person that feels pain, obviously he feels pain, he would have not looked at the sun at instinct
He
out
was
of instinct.
dehydrated.
He was dehydrated, but he would have felt pain. That doesn't negate.
I don't think you realize what people do when they're like, I'm not talking about he was just thirsty. Like
No, I
full-on
know.
dehydration, heat stroke. He was
Trust, I've
going
had a
crazy.
stroke. I've had a
Moon, do you
stroke.
think, Moon, do you
I
think
know what it
mentally
feels
well
like.
people? Do you think mentally well people kill people or unalive people?
No,
Do you
but
think
I've
mentally?
had a
Do
stroke,
you
so
think
I do know
mentally?
what it feels like.
Do you think mentally well people stare at the sun?
Well,
Obviously
you know
not,
what though?
but
Okay,
it's
well,
pain.
if you're willing to like accept that Paul might be mentally unwell when he's like unaliving people, could you possibly do you concede that it's possible that he could be mentally unwell and staring at the sun?
It is a
Yeah, but
very good
oh,
possibility. However, if this man is killing people, he obviously knows he's taking lives. He obviously knows, oh, these people are feeling pain. I know what pain is. Pain is a feeling. It's the feeling of, he's gonna feel it.
Is it
He's
possible?
gonna instinctively look away.
So do you think so you think he was mentally well when he was unaliving Christians?
Why did I say that?
Well, no, but
oh,
it seems like you're
jeez.
saying that mentally unwell people might do something like stare at the sun or see visions, and mentally unwell people might unalive Christians. So it seems like this is just the behavior of a mentally unwell person.
Well, you know what?
Have you?
Here, let
Oh,
me just
you're
put in
wrong.
a little perspective, okay?
No problem.
This is what I'm thinking. Just a whole twist to it, possible. I'm thinking that we're in this world here right now, and ourselves in 2026. We're not back then, and we're all discussing this, which is good. We need to probably actually read the whole thing of Paul from beginning to end, and then once we're done that, we can do the others. I mean, this is just very overwhelming, but in any case, I'm going to put up the file like he has with different topic tabs. But what I'm thinking is, um, if we had a child of ours, right,
But
who,
actually, before you continue, let me say
yeah,
one quick thing. But yeah,
okay,
ultimately, when it comes to Paul, I just think he's psychologically deranged. He's dehydrated, almost died on the road to Damascus. He looks at the sun and he hears a voice due to guilt and being dehydrated, and that is what causes his experience. And then he goes and he meets up with the
Do you
other
think?
disciples, and then that is essentially from then on, Paul is then writing what the disciples are telling him to write, writing what the early church is telling him to write, and that's how we get Paul's letters.
And
okay.
how do you?
Let
How do
me
you
just
know
put
he
in
felt
my.
guilt?
Let me just respond. Let me
Um,
just go
he
respond quick.
murdered Christians.
Hold on, Moo. Let
It's
me
And
just
how do
very
we
respond.
feel
possible he
guilt?
could feel guilt for
Oh
Sorry,
murdering.
my
sorry.
gosh.
Go on. Go on.
Okay, okay. This is what I just want to put something in. Okay, more on a human level. Okay, so I understand what you're saying.
You know,
Okay, and I'm trying to look at this from the big broader picture with as much as I can. I'm just thinking of it in the way of having a child, right? If I have a child and my child does that, right? I love my child, and say my child walks this same type of a path, right, as this man did, and um, you know, whatever happened to him in the desert, whether it was an illusion or not, it did cause this man to, realize that what he was doing was like, there's no words to describe it. You know, we have lots of humans in our world today that are doing these type of thing. And now
But
it's different
don't
when you
people today
see,
have visions of God?
pardon?
Do people
Pardon
today
me?
have visions of Do people today have visions of God that aren't
No,
Jesus
no, I'm
Christ?
not talking. No, I'm not speaking about that. I'm speaking about today. I was on TikTok and I saw a lady. I don't know where she was, somewhere far away, who was honestly hitting an infant. They say you can't talk about things on this TikTok. You have to say unaliving, and yet you scroll through and you see like this nurse in another country, like trying to put an IV in. She was abusing a newborn. Okay, there's some really bad things happening in our world today, and what
Yeah,
I'm
I don't disagree
saying
with you there.
is that she's not my child, but for God's sakes, I don't know what happened there, but I do have, if I have children of my own, and for some reason, whatever happened, I don't know how somebody could be raised in such a way that they would do something like that, maybe in a different time, where it's violent times, or even in today's world, we have murderers and killers, but, oh, sorry, unalivers, you know, but the point is that if my child does that, but my child has a chance to be in another place, not in this world, and something happens to my child who I love, and I don't know, maybe my child was abused or something happened to cause my child to do that to other humans, but my child all of a sudden goes a different way, and realizes, and there's an opportunity, really truly is remorseful, for like, realize I went the wrong
Yeah,
way, or
yeah.
I'm not talking about it if we're looking at it as Paul. I'm not talking about if we're looking at it
Right.
even as that lady I was scrolling
Is
through.
this
I'm
going to
talking about,
connect to God at all, though?
yeah, it
Okay,
is
okay.
because,
All right, just making sure.
well, not necessarily, but
Well,
I think for me it will,
okay.
because,
Okay,
why
go
I
ahead.
do is because I feel like, I don't know if you have kids. Do you have kids,
No,
Sinu?
No,
No,
I
okay.
don't
That's
even
okay. It doesn't
plan
matter.
on
You have
having
people you
kids.
love. You have
Coco
people
is
you
a
love
kid.
so much.
I
Coco's
am a
14.
kid.
What's that?
I am a kid. Yeah.
We're just kidding around. Okay, but so your
Yeah.
kid does bad things and then turns their life around and is no longer doing bad things. Is
Well,
that
it's
God?
not really, it's not bad things. Like, we're not talking about bad things. Okay. We're talking about something that, like, is like, it's beyond, it's not bad things. I mean, would you want to see someone that you love, like, so, um, I don't know, disillusioned, that, like, I mean, it's beyond, like, but if there's a
Yeah.
chance that any of us can, I don't know, come to, I don't know, even if he realized that he, and to put himself in jail, for example, even at that, I don't know, at the time, if he took himself and turned himself in to realize, and I don't even know, did he do that actually? Did he turn himself
Uh,
in?
Paul.
This man? Yeah. Did
Paul
he?
never turned himself into authorities, but he met up with like the
Oh,
disciples. I'm not sure
okay.
Well,
how that
well,
went.
Well, he
Jenny,
should have turned himself in, but in any case,
Jenny, let me
you
ask
know.
it like this. Like, let's say, and this is another hypothetical, and you guys may not like hypotheticals, but they help me understand your guys' perspective. Like, let's just say, with unequivocal, no doubt about it, we were, it was all proven to us right now that God does not exist. Okay, there's like 100% certainty God doesn't exist, and I know that's impossible, but just like,
Yeah.
let's just play the game just for
All
fun, because
right.
we're all
All
having
right.
fun here. So let's say it was proven that God doesn't exist, and with a 100% certainty that we all share. How
Okay.
would you explain? How would you explain Paul changing from being a quote unquote bad person to a quote unquote good person?
Oh wait. But by the way, okay, actually answer that, and then I invited PRK up here because he loves to talk about the resurrection. That's what we're doing.
He's Christ's strongest soldier, by the way.
He's just so strong.
You guys are talking
But
about
like,
the
how would you explain that,
resurrection?
Jenny? Like,
I didn't
how
even
would you
know.
explain that? No, right,
Jesus.
right.
Yo, it's good. You mind if I chill up here?
But like, Jenny,
Yeah,
how would you
you're
explain
good.
that shift if you knew that God doesn't exist?
You're not,
Jenny, are you there?
give me a minute on that. I want to try and come up with
Okay, no
something
problem.
that's, yeah.
Okay.
Okay,
While you're
I could
thinking
because I
about
could
that,
give you my answer too.
okay, while you're thinking about that, let me also say that Luke in Acts writes that Paul, in Acts chapter 8, verse 3, It says exactly, but Saul was ravaging the church and entering house after house. He dragged off men and women and committed them to prison. Paul used to be Saul. Once he converted to Christianity, he changed his name from Saul to Paul.
Okay. Right. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
Okay.
how would you explain that shift?
The shift in the name?
No, from Paul's like change in behavior, because presumably you believe that he like changed his perspective because he witnessed God. But if we found out that he was wrong and God doesn't exist, like how would you explain that?
Naturalistic means.
So if you give me another human being that's either
No, let's
Paul,
stick to
named
Paul.
Paul, or
Let's stick to Paul.
well, it could be any human being though, right? I mean, we're all just human
But
beings at the end of the day.
just I want to stick to this example just so we all know who we're talking about. So Paul grows from being like a Christian schmurderer into somebody who is a Christian and is like a quote unquote good person. But we found out now in 2026 that God doesn't exist. So how in that situation, hypothetically, how would you explain Paul's shift without referencing God? Because we all know God doesn't exist in this hypothetical.
See, I wouldn't, is there even a situation that
Yeah, I mean, I could give you my
is
explanation.
there an actual situation of that
He could
where
have he could be
somebody,
on shrugs. He could have guilt-induced hallucination. He could
But
have
where does
had a
that's the point? Where does
variety of
grief
mental
and guilt
illnesses.
come from?
Because
Well,
okay,
yeah,
wait, hold on.
what
So
if you're
PRK
trying
just
to,
said.
if you believe that we all do, if you're trying to, because it is difficult for me to answer that, as you can imagine, because I do believe, and my faith is important. But if you're suggesting by this that our human beings have they have a moral compass of their own, I would agree with that. I would
I
I'm
would
agree
just
that.
asking
say
for
Mhm.
you to come up with a naturalistic explanation for Paul's shift. I think PRK gave a pretty good.
I would say that his moral compass of his own brought him to a place of revelation, or
Right.
Which is
not
actually
revelation.
that's actually a naturalistic explanation. Some people go with that. He didn't really have like some experience, but it was some
Yeah.
revelation
Yeah. So
through some understanding or
like,
something.
But
I mean,
that's not what he testifies to.
no, of
Yeah.
course,
also,
but
but
there's a
also,
naturalistic explanation for his testimony,
yeah, and actually,
right?
Asina,
But
give
why would you change what he
Well,
like?
Jenny,
That's like if I
don't
say
you,
something.
wait, hold on, guys.
Jenny?
Asina, give your explanation for it, and then I'll give mine after, actually.
Yeah, so I'm somebody who doesn't believe that God exists, and and I have changes in heart on all the time, and I don't, to be honest, I don't exactly know what we're referencing when we talk about Paul. I'm imagining it's like the hallucination, the white light. I think what Coco said is like a pretty good naturalistic explanation, like some kind of like manic episode or something that we know exists like in our minds. And I think that especially before there's like really good like medical diagnoses for these things, like it must have been much easier to just like presume that those experiences were connected to God and experience some religious explanation for those things, under those circumstances. So there's
And
just so
also,
many naturalistic explanations for
Can I
pretty
just
much
respond?
any testimony.
Okay,
Absolutely.
let me just respond. Okay, so I guess it is easy for us to speak about people that we haven't met or we've never. How about me? Okay, how would you explain me? I'm right here, right now, talking with all of you.
Yeah.
Okay, and I was at the point of like
Okay,
my
just make this
partner.
quick though, Jenny. Okay, just like try and give me like the 30-second
concise.
version of the story.
Well, I'm just basically saying that I'm not. I don't. I don't want to make it quick.
I know,
I'm not
but just
Paul. I'm not
just to
Paul.
respect everyone else's time.
Oh, okay. Well, just if I've had an experience and I can
Yeah.
attribute it to God,
Okay.
how would you? And I'm not hypothetical. I'm a real person here.
Yeah.
Would you?
Yeah.
Would you respect me in being able to believe that was something that may have been true
First, I would ask you if you're
in my
open to
personal
me chat.
experience?
I'd ask you if you're open to your belief being challenged, because I don't want to challenge anyone's belief that is like not open to it.
Yeah.
But yeah, if
Yeah,
you are
I
open
am.
to me challenge, okay, so like just like in 30 seconds if you can, and mainly because I'm in an Uber and I'm about to get to my destination. But like, what was your experience?
Well, you know what? Let's just if you got 30 seconds only, I'll follow you and we'll do that because I
Okay.
don't want to rush it,
Okay.
but
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
we'll
I
have a
mean,
chat.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's also just not that really. I think part of the purpose of this is like entertainment, and long
Yes.
testimonies, no offense, are not that entertaining. At least
Well,
for me.
it's actually very personal and it's
Yeah.
related to my partner who's no longer here in the physical world.
Yeah.
So I think that all of us, we all
Fair
experience
enough.
as,
Fair enough.
humans, we experience difficult situations. And probably if you say that
True.
it's for entertainment, we should probably be mindful of that. And
Right. Yeah. If you don't want
yeah,
to talk about it on TikTok, like I mean,
yeah, yeah.
speaking for myself, I'm here for entertainment purposes only.
Well, I'll give you a follow and then maybe we can,
No problem.
or I don't know. I'm not
Sounds
too
good.
sure, but yeah. Hmm.
Sounds good. I just followed you.
Okay, I'll follow you too. I just hit the plus there. I'm a
Yeah.
little new to this.
But I mean, presumably, like when you hear like a Muslim or there's a religion called Sinoism, like presumably, like when you hear people give testimonies for Sinoism, like I know a guy who said that he claimed that he saw the god of Sino in a vision, and that this in the vision, the god of Sino told him that Sinoism is the one true religion and Christianity is false. Like presumably, you'd be able to come up with a naturalistic explanation for that event, right? Or would you
Me?
just accept that? Yeah.
Vision or dream?
I'm.
Like, is
Yes, it
there a
gets
naturalistic?
complicated, doesn't it? It gets complicated if we have never met the person or spoken to them. You're right.
Oh,
It
no, it's
does.
me. It's me. I
Oh,
had a
it's
vision
you.
that, yeah, that the
Okay.
God of Sinoism is true and Christianity is false.
What is so? Not what is Shintoism, but was it a dream or was it
And I was just
what
walking
was?
in the street, and then everything kind of went dark, and I heard a big booming voice, and it was the God of Sinoism telling me that Christianity is false and Sinoism is
The
true.
god of Sino. How do you know what the god of Sinoism's voice is?
Oh,
How do you
Well,
know
he
its
heard it. He
energy?
says he
I
heard
just
it. He
heard
heard
it.
it.
It was like it just felt very like
Well,
supernatural.
Wait,
No, no, no. How do you
I
know
think
what it was before?
wait. Sino, are you noticing what's happening here?
Yeah,
Did you
but
catch what I caught?
I know. Let's let it ride out. So,
ju-
I know it's God because I heard it, and I just knew deeply in my bones that it was the God of Sinoism and that He was telling the truth.
Okay.
So, like, do you have a naturalistic explanation for that, or do you think it was the God of Sinoism and that Christianity is false?
To be honest, I think it could have been a demonic entity that you encountered in.
Wait, but if Sinoism is true, then don't you think any Christian experiences could be a demonic entity? Because in the religion of
Totally.
Sinoism, there is a demon. Yeah,
Totally.
yeah.
Oh, okay.
100%.
Wait, guys, hurry up because I'm hungry to debate Trey. I will happily talk to you.
I gotta go anyways, bro. So you can have at it.
I will
But
100%.
wait, Coco, what did you witness happen? What did you witness happen?
Okay, so Sino is telling you about his God that says Christianity is not true, right? And when
Hmm.
he's giving his experience, Moon, you're asking like a bunch of questions. But
Hmm.
when it comes to us, the atheists, when we look at Paul, we ask the same questions that you're asking
Hmm.
about his Sino God, right?
Not the same.
He said that, his God said Christianity is true and like that he heard a voice, and you're asking like, are you sure it was a voice? Could it have been anything
No,
else?
no, I
Maybe
didn't.
it's a
I
demon?
didn't ask that. Don't misrepresent what I said, though.
Okay. What did you ask?
I asked, how did you know it was his voice? Or did you
Okay,
know his voice before?
exactly. So when it comes to Paul, we know that Paul never met Jesus, never shook hands with
Never,
Jesus,
yeah, no,
doesn't know any of the disciples, and yet he hears Jesus's voice in
of
the
course.
desert. And we're
Not
asking the same.
Jesus's, not,
It is. Like Paul goes on the road to Damascus and he sees a bright light, and the bright light says, I am Jesus. Why do you persecute my people? And we're
Oh,
asking the same questions. Like,
I think he
Paul.
thinks God. He
well,
believes in the
I think the
Trinity. I
first
think
I think the
Moo believes in the
first
Trinity.
I think the
I'm not
first
going
few
to lie. He has a
people.
point when it
Wait, I
comes
just want to say this. I think the
to
first few
Two
people
different,
that saw Jesus, the first few people, like Peter, like the disciples, the ones that came before Paul,
yeah.
they definitely probably saw Jesus in front of them in a bodily form.
Mhm.
Well, yeah,
Uh,
but did Paul meet like any of the disciples or
Most
Jesus,
likely.
any of them beforehand?
Not Jesus, but most likely the disciples.
yeah,
You
he
think he met the
presumably met
Was
disciples
this after the
some of the
resurrection
disciples.
before
Yeah,
Most
or
after the
likely.
before the
before the
resurrection.
resurrection? Did he meet any of the disciples?
Okay.
Did he shake hands with Paul? Did he shake hands with Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John? Did he
He
interact with any of the apostles?
First of all, Luke
Peter, I
wasn't
believe.
Luke.
What?
Are you
Peter?
talking about Paul?
Yeah, did Paul interact with any of them prior to
Well,
like
he was. Well,
resurrection?
it's important to know that Paul was an apostle, but even then, right? Yeah. So
Prior
I
to the
mean,
resurrection, he
before
was an apostle?
I know after. So
Okay.
before the resurrection, he did not, know them. But after the resurrection, he did know them. And what
Yeah.
he calls it is scholars believe that Paul believes this was a physical bodily resurrection. Now, the only thing that could convince these people that Jesus rose from the dead is if Jesus was in front of them in a bodily form. Because if they
Thomas.
saw Jesus in any other way, in a hallucination or something, they would just assume that he was in heaven or something like this. They wouldn't say that he's resurrected from the dead bodily,
Yeah,
which is
so
what they were saying. So
yeah,
these are
so
So
the
what did
types
they
of
die for
experiences
then?
that they're having, and presumably a few people had these types of experiences, not
yeah,
just
yeah,
Paul
yeah, yeah, but all
or
I'm
Peter.
focusing on is like yeah, all of that stuff like yeah, I think I hold to be true. But like I guess what I'm focusing on, right, is like Sino was saying about like his God and like how he heard a voice. You're asking questions like
Hmm.
are you know, but like we as atheists when we look at
They
Paul,
think the same thing, bro.
um yeah,
Basically,
Yeah,
yeah, y'all do. But
that's a very
but
good point.
yeah, hold on. So yeah,
Yes.
whenever we look at Paul, we ask the same thing, and we're going to suspect that the naturalistic explanation is way more likely than a supernatural explanation because it doesn't defy the laws of physics. It doesn't defy like logic, and it's very
Mhm.
well probable,
You kind of
more
Don't you
probable
find
than
it
Well,
like
a bit
let me
you
Paul
just
kind of
let me
going
just
to.
are.
comment.
Wait, hold on,
Let me
hold on,
just
hold on, hold
comment on
on.
Too
that.
many people,
Wait,
too
I was
many
about
people.
Hold
to.
on, wait,
I
let me
was
finish.
about
Let me
to.
finish. Let me finish. We're going to assume that the naturalistic possibility is way more probable because it is way more possible than Paul
No.
walking in the desert and legitimately
Yes.
hearing Jesus
Uh-uh.
who
You can't say
died
no.
on the cross and rose
I
again
look.
and was
Do you
speaking
know
to
why I
them
say
in the
no?
sky. That
well,
like
that just depends on
No,
your
you can't because
background.
Do you know
God
why?
does allow him to ask questions.
Yeah, yeah,
God
of
does
course. But
allow.
look, do
You
you know
can't say
why I
no
say
to
no?
him.
No, no, no. Do
wait,
you know why I say no to that exact scenario of him
Okay,
having
okay,
a
go
heat
ahead.
stroke or something like that?
go for it.
Right? Personally, y'all don't know me, but I can tell y'all this: I've had a stroke. If I wasn't at the exact moment, like if I wasn't at the exact location at the exact moment, I would have died. I
Hold
would
on,
have died.
wait. We're not even saying stroke. I'm saying that he was dehydrated and he had a mental
Had a heat
breakdown.
stroke.
No, he had a mental breakdown in the desert.
Yo,
They're
someone
basically saying that he had a psychosis,
He had psychosis.
a
who
mental
said
breakdown.
who said
Who,
heat stroke?
Paul?
No,
I
that's
think
And
their
I
he,
think
no,
you
it might
know
have
what?
that's
been
their
And
understanding.
Tina.
That's their
and you know what?
understanding
And
of
as
it.
human beings, God does allow people and human beings to ask questions
Yeah.
and you know, if he has every right to dive into this and look at
Oh
every
yeah, no, yeah.
aspect and find all the reasoning or evidence to show if that really
Look,
occurred. You
look,
I'm
know,
this
not
is a
saying
that's
very
you
our
don't.
simple
jobs.
answer. This
Yes,
is this
that's
is
our
all
job.
this is all going to be on your worldview. So like since we have a supernatural worldview and we believe God exists, the possibility of a resurrection is a lot higher than what you
For
give say
atheists.
the probability is under your worldview.
Hold on. Actually, I have a question about that. So, like,
Yeah.
I
under
didn't hear it.
if you grant that God exists under the Christian worldview, like, you would still weigh naturalistic explanations as being equal to spiritual explanations. You wouldn't still hold naturalistic explanations to be more likely than spiritual.
No, no. If God exists and
Mm,
he would desire to intervene at some point in
I
humanity
don't
and
agree.
we have the
Yeah.
resurrection evidence,
You hold them as
obviously.
equal from a
But
yeah,
different.
they
God
would be
created the
a lot
natural.
higher. The possibility of the possibility of a resurrection in this situation would be
or,
far
or no,
higher.
so
But
so
God
being
created.
wait, hold on.
If I can oppose for 2 seconds,
Yeah,
and
but
after
he's
that I'm gonna
not
keep y'all
bound.
going.
Wait, hold on. Wait. One last thing, and then yeah, Trey, you can go.
Bet.
Wait. But like, let's say like you're a Christian, you're looking at these events, you're looking at like
Hmm.
Paul and stuff, right?
Hmm.
You would hold the spiritual explanation to be higher than the naturalistic explanation in probability.
Yeah, if a
I would
God
hold him about
exists,
the same.
and he would desire, if he is a personal God that wants to interact with his creation, yeah, I would say that the supernatural explanations are better
Higher? Okay.
for the resurrection.
If I
Yeah.
was a Christian, I would hold them to be probably like
The same.
equal. Yeah,
Yeah.
like same. But okay.
No,
That's what
no,
I do. But
I think it's far more probable, just mathematically speaking. If you do like
well,
the
It's
Bayesian
interesting.
statistics, on this,
Very
like
interesting.
it's like again, if it's like a 50% chance God exists and a 50% chance he would incarnate, and there's a 97% chance that Jesus resurrected, so it's far higher
that
than
math
any
does not make
natural
sense.
explanation.
Oh, but yeah, go ahead, Trey.
Yeah, actually, it's more of a question for you, host. It's more in your belief question. Like, what do you like? What's your belief, pretty much? Like, are you like atheist, agnostic, or?
So I would say like I'm agnostic. So when you ask me does God exist, I say I don't know, and then I don't think we have enough information or the ability to know whether God exists. And then
Okay.
I can happily go into my beliefs about like Jesus and Paul for sure.
Okay, yeah, because I would say what kind of granted me the evidence of God's existence. I mean, afterwards I'll go with what I was trying to say. I would say me it's more the creation of nature, the way that nature is kind of designed, and the
It's
universe
so.
creation is just
Yeah. Yeah.
it's
Hmm.
pretty much
Hmm.
beyond our limits to even comprehend how it is.
Hmm.
Like the same way for a tree, right? For a tree to kind of live, it needs CO, and we produce that as humans. So when we get to a tree, we give them CO, and they give us oxygen.
You
And
carbon dioxide. Yeah.
yeah, exactly.
Um,
So in the same way that a
Plus,
tree frame is kind of like the same way that it looks like our human lungs, same
plus,
thing.
we've never
wait,
seen
so
nothing. Oh, we've never seen
And
something come from nothing.
actually,
and
wait, hold on.
I mean, just
So
where just yeah,
go ahead. Finish up, and then I'll go after you.
baby. So it's just me. It's just this that kind of like gave me a granted resolution that that there's a God and that it exists, but I didn't know which one was way before
Hmm.
because I was agnostic about a couple months ago. I became Christian for about 5 to 6 months,
Hmm.
and I'm still diving into it. I'm still studying. I'm still going down to it, and I'm more of I'd say a rational Christian when it comes to really more logical things. But when it comes to God, I would say logical things are not really
Okay, hold
strong.
on. Yeah, can
But
I?
I have two arguments for you. All right, there's two arguments. There's two arguments that comes with the existence of God. Because the first argument is the intelligent design, which
Hold
was
on.
the
Wait. Before you get into that, let me grab my notes. I have notes on intelligent design.
I
Uh,
already know what these are.
yeah. But like, okay,
yeah.
so
Would you care to explain us the intelligent design concept and the cosmological argument? Both of them.
the cosmological argument might trip me up. I don't remember what that is. The intelligent design, it's basically that like there's some kind of intelligent mind that created the universe specifically fit to support life.
Mhm.
Um, and just have certain parameters. But here, let me find my notes on it. I took like certain notes on it.
But yeah,
Um,
because out of all the universe, we are the only known life, right? How does that happen?
I mean, it's a
So
big
would you? I
universe,
mean,
but
no, because I'm asking him this more
well,
likely to go to the end of my question. Do you believe that the creation is all natural selection? It just popped out of nowhere.
oh, okay. Actually, I was gonna answer to that, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, I am building a worldview. I am trying to figure out like what my worldview is. I have it like
Hmm.
on my doc, and yeah, I'm taking notes and stuff.
That's great.
No atheist would hold to everything coming from nothing. It breaks the laws of thermodynamics, and I know that might only apply. Wait, hold
Some
on.
people think of
Hold on, let
abiogenesis.
him, let him
Hold on.
continue. Let him
So like,
continue. Let him continue.
Abiogenesis.
wait, hold on.
Sorry.
Oh no, you're good. It breaks the laws of thermodynamics, and I know thermodynamics only really applies to a closed system, and we're not sure if like our reality is an open or a closed system. But
Mm-hmm.
basically, energy can't be created or destroyed. Matter can be created out of nothing, out of just like thin air. So like no atheist would hold to that if they hold to science. Typically, what I say is that everything does come from a source, and I lean towards our universe existing eternally because when it comes to the Big Bang theory that was created by a Roman Catholic, but is our most like
Yep.
proven theory due to
Mm-hmm.
background radiation and also the constant expansion of the universe. The Big
Agreed.
Bang Theory explains how everything expands outwards, but it's not telling us anything about a starting point. At the beginning of the Big Bang Theory, that singularity is actually a mathematical or scientific unknown because when scientists and mathematicians try to go as far back as they
As far
possibly
back,
can,
they
they
can't find
get
it.
they get really far and it starts to become confusing. The numbers
Mm-hmm.
break down to really small numbers that are super confusing. So the beginning point, the singularity, that's not marking the beginning of the universe, but it's just marking the limits of human understanding. It could keep going. We just don't
Yeah.
know, and we can't even comprehend what that is. So I don't think everything comes out of nothing. I think it's coming from a source, but the source could be an eternal universe because there's like an edge limit to our understanding.
Mm-hmm.
And then when it comes to intelligent design, let me see. I have some issues with it because, um, okay, I found it. So like I have notes on my laptop. It literally says I disagree with intelligent designs for these reasons. Um, Evolution is a proven theory. It's actually it's nearly proven. We have fossil records, we have retroviruses between humans and apes. There's a lot of things that would prove that we are the descendants of billions of years of traits changing over time. So genetic mutation will occur and there will be a change in allele frequencies over time that will produce a variety of different traits.
Wait,
Um,
you
Given
said it's
this,
nearly proven, but it's
it's like
not proven, obviously, right? It
yeah,
has a lot of evidence, but it's not proven.
yeah.
So it's not
I wouldn't
100%.
say that it's like a set in stone case, but right now, if you go on Google
So
and you
it's
search
more
up,
of a vague evidence, you'd say.
I would say it's a theory, and the theory is just going to be a hypothesis that's backed up
That's
by
backed
tons
up,
and
yeah.
tons of facts and data, and it's
Yeah.
extremely substantiated. It's almost 99.9%. Yes, this actually did occur. When it
Okay, yeah,
comes to
okay, for sure.
evolution, if you go on Google and you search up how many scientists believe in evolution, 99.9% of
99.
scientists in the scientific field believe in evolution. And this includes scientists that are not theists, they don't believe in God, and also Christian scientists hold to evolution as well. Uh, they think it's
Yeah.
compatible with the narratives of the
Yeah.
Bible.
That's
Yeah,
right.
it could definitely
They
be.
believe that God created evolution, right? Don't they? They
Yeah.
believe God
Yeah.
created.
God
Christians
created the
believe that
universe,
God
which means that
initiated evolution, but here's the problem, right? Um, if our universe is finely tuned to support life, this
Mm-hmm.
completely contradicts with like evolution because given evolution, 99.9% of species have gone extinct. All the species that exist today, gorillas, giraffes, turtles, sharks, and us, we're the 1% that evolved from prior species, and also survival of the fittest is a thing. There used to be short-necked giraffes, and they died because they couldn't eat the food that they were supposed to eat. There used to be other creatures that had like so many different like character traits and they kind of died off because they couldn't survive in their environments.
Mm-hmm.
So our
Can I
world
ask a
is
simple,
our
quick
world
question?
is not built
well,
to
that's why
Oh yeah,
they
wait, hold on
evolved, no?
really quick.
Hold
Our
on, hold
world
on.
is
The other
not
one had a question
built
though.
Oh, okay. Really quick. I'll finish up. I'll say a couple more things.
But gotcha.
Our world is not built to support life because 99.9% of life on the earth went extinct due to the parameters of the earth. And also, not to include things like the sun gives humans skin cancer if you stay out there too long, and severe burns. And then also, the last thing that I'll say is that when it comes to humans, there are so many, like drastically, so many flaws with the human body. For one, wisdom teeth are terrible for you. Tons of humans grow wisdom teeth, and if you allow them to continue growing, they will fuck up your jaw, right? Two,
Wait, say for real?
the
I need to get
same,
mine taken out.
yeah. For some people, you can have your wisdom teeth and it won't mess up your jaw, but for a lot of people, your wisdom teeth will push your teeth inward and fuck up
Yeah,
your.
my
Dang,
wife had that same
then I
issue.
must be lucky for real.
Yo,
Yeah.
I can only stay on a little
But
bit longer. Could I say or ask a couple questions to the host?
Okay. Let me speed run through
Yes,
this, and
sir.
then
Yes,
I
sir.
guess I
Sorry.
can I guess I can explain it later. But yeah, wisdom teeth is an issue. Share passages for breathing and eating. The same passage that you breathe out of, you eat out of. So if you get something stuck in your throat, you can't breathe or eat. It closes off two things about your body, basically. You have the human appendix. That's a useless thing. It shouldn't even be in our body. A lot of people get their appendixes taken out. Some women have narrow birthing canals, so giving birth could literally split their bodies open. That's terrible. You have 25% of pregnancies end 25% of pregnancies ending in miscarriages. You have birth defects. You have stillbirths. You have ectopic pregnancies. You have the whole menstrual cycle. You have genetic diseases. You have
Mind
susceptibility
you,
to
Well,
diseases. You
because
have
we weren't meant to
Hold
be
on,
physical, were we?
hold
you,
on,
We were
you,
never
hold
meant
on,
to
hold
be
on. Let him
physical.
yo,
continue.
we
Hold
Let
on,
him
were,
finish.
we
continue.
Let him
were.
Let him
finish.
continue.
I got three more things. I got three more things. And then you have susceptibility to diseases and mutations of cells to form cancer. That's terrible.
Same.
Presence of organs that have no apparent usage besides the appendix. There's plenty of other organs that we shouldn't have. And then last thing is we have the inability to synthesize vitamin C, which is a crucial nutrient for our bodies. So not only is the
He's asking a
universe,
question.
wait, hold
Kid,
on, wait, last thing,
Let him
last thing.
finish. Let
tired
him finish.
eyes.
Not only is the
Yeah.
universe not built to support life, but humans are extremely problematic when it comes to even being able to like sustain their own lives or continue to live. There's just a bunch of terrible like design flaws about the human body.
Yo,
That's
Okay.
it.
yo. Okay, okay.
Well,
I
he
can't
asked the
stay here for
question that
long
I
because
have
I
one.
gotta go inside. Can I
Go
say a
ahead,
couple
tattoos.
things if you don't mind?
Go ahead, tattoos, and then Trey, you have to respond right after.
Okay,
I
okay.
got you.
Thank you so much. I'll make it quick. Also, I do want to, if you're interested, host, if you're interested, like I said, I have complete raw evidence, in my opinion, 100% proof that the Holy Spirit is real, and I can share that with you if you're curious about that. But I'll
Don't
get
say
into
that,
that.
bro.
Oh,
I'll get
that's
into
marvelous.
I'll get into that. I'll get into that later. In my opinion, it's 100% proof, but that's just my opinion. So I want to talk about how you
There's
said
no 100% proof in
I
anything.
okay. I mean, yeah, I guess you're right, but I think it's 99.9. You know, I'm just
It
kidding.
it may be like 95%
Yeah,
evidence,
yeah. No,
but
no, I
So
know, I
what's the
know, I know.
question?
All right, all right.
Oh,
So
God.
my question is, host, when you were saying how how humans and all these animals that we have got so we became it was like so rare that we had lived on, right? Of course, I'm a Christian, hopped on the panel. And first, I want to appreciate your enthusiasm about like how you describe it and everything. I love that. That's really cool. But my statement would be take Moses when he's writing Genesis.
Yeah.
Think of how rare, because you got to think back then, they're not advanced like we are, right? So they don't have the technology that we have. So to write down something about creation that human beings would have dominion over animals and then him to name these animals
Yeah.
and then for us to still have dominion over them thousands and thousands of years later, like to me that would
Well,
be so rarely lined up that it would almost have to prove that like either A, he knew the future, or B, there is a God.
wait. What do you mean by we have dominion over animals? What?
So in Genesis it talks about how you have dominion over the animals, like basically like you rule over them and they'll fear you in a sense, right?
Okay. Actually,
So
Pause there. Pause there.
yes, sir.
But why
That
do lions
is
kill us?
That is drastically not the case. If you literally go to Africa and a human walks up on a lion, the lion's not afraid of the human. The lion's looking at the human like,
Yeah, it's a
today's
snack.
my special day. I'm gonna rip you apart.
Yeah, yeah,
Like,
no.
what are you
So
talking about?
I completely I agree with hold on. I agree with that. I agree with that. And I understand where you're coming from. The
Yeah,
only question that I have to everyone who says that, there wasn't a God who created this,
yeah.
then my question would be,
if a human being and an animal started off on the same playing field, right? We had no cognitive mental advantage to them, and we have no dominion over them. If we start on the same playing field, humans are getting wiped out completely. So I think God, hear me out. So if you read scripture, God multiple times throughout scripture, all over scripture, is giving you unlike insane evidence that he is real. So imagine he says, look, I'm going to put animals on the earth that can completely wipe you out. But in my holy book, it says that you have dominion over them. So if y'all look back and question if I made y'all, just look at the animals, how much powerful they are than you. That proves that I gave you dominion because they didn't kill you thousands and millions, whatever years you want to say, because I
Well,
gave you dominion. Does that make
well,
sense?
I mean, yeah, I get what you're
That
saying,
makes
but also
sense.
like my counter argument to it would be like,
Yes, sir.
um, I'm not sure if humans existed at the same time as dinosaurs. I know this, everyone in the comments is about to
Actually,
wait, hold on,
actually,
hold on. Everyone in the comments is about to like roast the fuck out of me. But yeah, I don't
Yes.
remember. I don't remember.
actually,
Wait, just pause.
everyone
Pause.
thinks. No, no,
Wait, hold,
no, no, no.
wait, hold on, just chill. Um, like I know everyone in the comments is gonna roast the fuck out of me, but I don't remember the timeline in which
Yeah.
humans came about. I'm not sure if they existed at the same time as like dinosaurs,
Yeah.
but um, but also like yes, on one hand, it could be the case that that animals could wipe out humans,
Yeah, of course.
but
Like you said earlier with the lion.
yeah, but on the other hand, it could be the case that humans learn to hide and still reproduce. They learn to survive or like adapt to their environment and still reproduce, passing on their genes and allowing for other humans to be born. And
Yeah.
again, like you say that humans have dominion over animals.
Yeah.
I just don't really see that being the case because like
Look at a zoo.
humans. Well, yeah, humans have the ability
We're the
to
only
capture.
sentient being.
Hold on, pause. Humans have the ability to capture animals, yeah, and
Uh-huh.
form zoos, but
Yeah.
if we were tossed out in nature, and we were just walking amongst animals, they're not afraid of us. A snake will bite a human and have them get poisoned and then eat
Yeah.
their flesh.
Yeah.
Black bears, white bears, and brown bears all will rip humans to pieces. They don't give a fuck. If
Polar
you're
Now,
bears
swimming,
will
so I have
actually
a
if
so I
you're
have a
swimming, hold on. If you're swimming in the water in California, tons of shark attacks have happened, and the
yeah, it's a
sharks
wrap.
thought they're humans. It's a
Mississippi
wrap. They're gonna
and
like
all
rip
that.
out humans in the water. No animal fears us. We do not have dominion over animals. It would actually seem as if it's the other way around. We're in their habitat. Snakes will rip us up, sharks will rip us up, bears will tear us up, poisonous frogs will poison us. The
Yeah,
animals
I
will
agree.
fuck us up. Like
Yeah,
there's no
okay,
Okay,
so
dominion.
my question, hold on. Because again, I can't stay long. So then my question would be, look at small animals, right? Because even small animals can hide from a big animal in X, Y, and Z, right? But a lot of these small animals, spiders, snakes, frogs, like you said, a lot of these things, they have venom they can counter, or they have some type of display or camouflage, like an octopus. They have something to counteract the bigger predators around them.
Yeah.
Bro, we got fingernails and teeth. We ain't got nothing to counteract
and we don't
anything.
need it.
I
That's
think
hold on. We don't have anything to counteract anything other than the fact that we are cognitively, and you cannot deny this. No human being logically can say that animals are smarter than humans. And if humans are smarter than animals by a long shot, and it is a long shot. Logically, now don't get me wrong. Yes, animals have echolocation, they have all these things, right? A chimp can do this. But if a chimp can put a card or a block on a certain thing, that's just a dumb toddler. So they're not on the same level that we are. So if we are so much more advanced than we are, wouldn't that line up with scripture saying that we're God's prized possession?
Yeah. So I think that's actually good. I think like the best argument you could argue for us having dominion over animals, it's not that our physical abilities are better than them. It's not that the animals fear us, but I think the only reason that humans were able to survive these crazy ass animals, there's like
Uh-huh.
poisonous frogs. There are literally birds that like will fly at the ground at like speeds that are higher than
The
jets.
peregrine falcon.
Peregrine falcon, 262
Yeah,
miles an hour.
like the only reason that humans were able to survive the dinosaurs and combat all these crazy ass animals is because we are so much more intellectually smarter than these
Exactly.
animals. That's the only
So
way.
That's how we
so
have
hear me out.
dominion.
Hear me out.
And that's the dominion.
Hear
So,
me
so
out. Hear me
actually,
out.
yeah. So I
But hear
would
me out.
grant you, like, that's probably your best argument that
But
our
that's what I'm saying.
brain has dominion over the animals, not our
Exactly.
physical
So we're
ability.
lining, you just agreed to what Genesis talks about. Because hear me out. If Genesis is wrong and we don't have dominion, let's say evolution is real. Let's say your case is real.
Yeah.
There's small and big animals. There's no physical possibility that we outlast any animals. Because let's say we hide in a little cave from a lion. A snake is gonna bite us.
We're
A
dead.
scorpion's gonna sting us. A spider is gonna bite. Like we're going to get taken out on every single level in any time frame in the world until we start crafting weapons or we start becoming together as a civilization to take control over a certain area. We have to
Is
be.
this low tier hour? What the fuck is this argument,
Wait,
bro?
let it happen.
You know what I'm saying? We have to be more cognitively aware. And let's say you're right. Maybe I didn't look at the dominion thing as a physical standpoint. Maybe it is a mental standpoint. And I agree with that. It is more likely a mental standpoint, but it's still
Right.
dominion. Dominion is still dominion. Like
Yeah.
tell me what animal has cars and cities and doctors. Like no, look, think of it this way. Think of it this way. If
Can I back you up?
animals
Wait, hold
strictly
on, not
do
yet.
animals
Go.
strictly do what they're designed to do. They're going to hunt in their packs. They're going to do X, Y, and Z. Now, will some of them act out of the ordinary? Yes. But 90% of them, they're going to do what they're designed to do. What thing on this planet that does not do what it's strictly designed to do? It is human
Well,
beings.
actually, like, I wouldn't grant that they're designed. I would say, like, okay, you would probably grant like some kind of intelligent designer. He designed them like perfectly able to do those things that they're doing. I would say that these are just characteristics that come
No, no,
about
because wait,
via.
wait, 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 wait,
Wait,
wait.
hold on, wait.
Oh man.
I think
And
I
sorry.
think these are just like characteristics that come about via evolution. And again, there are other species that didn't have character traits to survive or be compatible with their environments, and 99.9% of species on the planet are dead and extinct. So the ones today, they're not designed to be here. They just happen to have a
What
biology that is
I just
compatible with
wanted to
their
say thank
environment.
you. I'm going to step off now. Thank you for having me join.
Yeah.
yeah, yeah,
And
yeah,
also like another thing is like, let's say I grant the Dominion thing and it's like a mental thing. Maybe that's
yeah,
the interpretation of the Bible.
yeah.
It could be the case that the Bible's trying to tell us something here, but it also equally as likely could be the case that the Bible in its entirety is wrong, and this is just some kind of like naturalistic thing
Did
that just occurred. So it's 50-50 for me.
Come on, bro. You
hear
really
hear
think
me out.
you really
Hear me
think
out.
Moses thousands of years ago was thinking when he wrote dominion or control or whatever over animals that he could step toe to toe with a lion?
I'm
Like
gonna be honest with you.
obviously in his sorry,
Okay.
what?
Well, that's another thing I also wanted to
It
comment
says
on. I'm
this
gonna be honest with
snake.
you.
It says
I'm
this
not even
snake was
sure.
grafted into a snake
Here,
dog. This shit
Well,
didn't happen.
wait,
This shit
hold on.
didn't
uh,
happen.
Wait, hold on. Like, I'm not even sure if Moses wrote the Pentateuch. I'm not even sure if he wrote the first five books, and
he did.
I'm not even sure when they're dated. And it could be the case that Moses was
I
walking around
got
the
you.
earth. Wait, hold on. It could be the case that Moses was walking around the earth, and he looked at humans, he looked at animals, and then he wrote, "Clearly, humans are smarter than animals. They have dominion over the species. These are my observations." And it could be the case he wrote that and didn't know God existed. Or it could be the case he wrote that and God doesn't exist, you
How
know.
the fuck did Moses
Indeed.
recount
Why?
his own death?
Why?
So
But
yeah, how would Moses talk about the serpent striking the one that is coming? He basically, if you look at it right in the context, when
He not there yet, bro. He
he
ain't gonna understand. He ain't gonna
I
understand.
know. Okay, long story short, in Genesis, Christ is literally prophesied in Genesis.
He's
Moses had
not.
Yep. Yes,
yes,
he is.
one
Where?
thousand
He's
Where?
percent
no,
he
no.
is.
Where?
He's mentioned. He's meant
Where?
not word
Where?
The
by word,
serpent,
Where?
not
hold
by
on,
word.
hear me out. Please,
Where?
please, 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 please.
Book
So
chapter verse.
the serpent, the
Book
serpent
chapter
is
verse.
going to strike the heel, and then the one that God will send is going to
Why do
step
they always
on.
say that this is about Jesus? This is has nothing to do with Jesus.
It's
Bro,
got
you were
everything to do with
smoking.
Jesus.
You were smoking.
and
Okay,
also,
hold on. I gotta step off.
okay,
But
yeah.
sorry, I gotta step
Follow
off.
me. Follow me. I'll follow you back, and then come
Okay,
back to me.
I just want to say one more thing, and then I'm gonna dip off.
Yeah.
Okay, and if you want to respond, so it's not like Okay, he just said that and dipped off. Now it's kind of
Oh no, you're
unfair.
good. I totally understand.
Okay. So my
There are people who just drop off the paddle. They're like, I win, you lose, and I'm like, that's disrespectful. But you're telling me that you have to go and like, hey, I'm
yeah,
about to
yeah.
drop off.
But
So
if you want to respond, I can stay or whatever. So here's I'm not gonna give you a full rundown. I'm just gonna try and make this quick as possible to my evidence of the Holy Spirit. So long story short, Holy Spirit's purpose is to guide, comfort, to remind us of Scripture, basically lead us to righteousness, right?
yeah.
Okay, so 3 years ago, I had been through the process of being reborn again that Scripture talks about. I had read the
Amen.
Bible cover to cover. I had, at this point, I had grown up in church, but I had read the Bible cover to cover. I'm going to church every Sunday, the whole 9 yards. Well, afterwards, after everything had happened, and now my now wife, but my girlfriend at the time, we're sleeping in the same bed. We're not doing anything, but the night that we go to bed, in the morning we wake up, I start feeling guilt out of nowhere. Right now, at this point, I'm going to church every Sunday. I'm listening to sermons on my phone. I'm listening to worship music. I have everything for the Spirit to guide me, but nothing is pointing out blatantly obvious. You should not sleep in the same bed before marriage. Right now, Scripture tells you, but it doesn't tell you word for word. The woman at the well, for instance, if you want to look at it, when Jesus is talking about the woman at the well, it talks about how that's a sin, but you actually have to listen and like really read it to understand. So it's not like a word for word verbatim.
Yeah.
So I start having this guilt out of nowhere. Again, already reading the Bible cover to cover, right? And people have told me, oh, that's just inner conscience. Why would inner conscience go strongly against my desire? Because my desire and inner conscience is actually telling me that I want to do this. But I have something that is telling me this is not righteous.
Wait,
This
hold
is
on.
not holy.
Have you heard of
Amen.
evolutionary empathy?
Amen.
Like whenever we look at evolution, the
Mhm.
animals that came before us had no empathy, but over time, empathy evolved with like the human brain essentially. And so our predecessors were not empathetic, but we had a big enough and smart enough brain to realize that in order to survive, we
Mhm.
survive better in packs and when we empathize with each other and don't do wrong or like harmful things. And so,
I do have
But
a
hold on,
question
but
about
just hear me
that.
out. But hear me out. Hear me
So
out.
you
So
okay?
hear me out. Hear me out. Hold on. Well, sorry. I'm not trying to cut you off. I'm really not like this usually.
You
I just
good?
gotta
You
say it
good?
quick.
You good?
So
Go
for
ahead,
one,
bro.
empathy, I don't really think has anything to do with something leading me to something that is holy and righteous. And then for two, society completely directs me away from the fact of sleeping in the same bed as a sin before marriage because society loves that idea. Okay. And then three, again, if it was like, oh, you just forgot something that God had said in his Bible or in the Bible, well, if that was the case, why didn't I remember it? Because when I brought this issue to him, he was like, yo, you just overlooked it. Like you didn't actually take time to really study what Jesus was talking about. It doesn't say it word for word. You just didn't take the time to actually study and listen to what he was saying. So
Jesus talks in parables.
it wasn't like exactly, it was a
Man.
parable. It
Yep.
wasn't, and hear me out. The parable itself that he's talking about with the woman at the well goes hand in hand when he says, with people with ears, let them hear and eyes, let them see. I didn't have the Holy Spirit to guide my ears or my eyes. So I'm telling you, bro, like I guarantee you for a fact, I literally had a prophecy play out 100% in my life. And if you want to know about that, I can tell you about that too. I had a prophecy play out 100% in my life
I think we'll
through a
pass.
dream.
We'll
I
pass.
promise you, bro.
We'll pass.
God,
This is a
God is
debate
real.
though, and prophecy.
Oh
later.
man,
Okay.
No, I
you're
know,
a
I
dreamer
know,
Wait,
too, huh?
hold
I
on.
know.
Let me
It's
fix
just
it.
my testimony. I'm telling
I
you,
will
bro.
say,
I can guarantee you, God is real. I promise you.
Testimonies aren't arguments,
yeah.
though.
Whenever
I know. But the power of the Holy
Justin,
Spirit
bro.
can move to a
Justin, bro.
testimony.
hold on, hold on.
100%.
Whenever you have more time, definitely come back and like, yeah, I'll sit here and like go through the whole thing with you for sure.
Okay, I appreciate the time, bro. All I would ask is, have you read the Bible or no?
I have read a
No, Coco
significant
can't
like
read.
portion. Wait,
Coco can't read.
Forrest, chill. I've read significant portions about it, but I'm working on saving up some money.
Uh-huh.
Well, technically, I have Bibles. I collect Bibles, but there's a specific one I want to get, and I'm gonna read it cover to cover.
Okay.
Ethiopian.
Okay.
No.
So what I would
Bro said Ethiopian.
and my pastor had told me this, and it makes perfect sense. This dude's got like 10 years of college studying scripture. He basically said to read the whole entire Bible, to understand one verse, sometimes you have to read the Bible cover to cover multiple times. And I promise you that is 100% true. For the first time,
100%.
I've read the Bible almost 3
Not
times.
how
Covered.
reading works.
No, okay, it's just talking about context and for you to really understand
Yeah,
something.
you have to
So
read it over and
Yeah,
over
you're
again. You
good.
have
yeah,
to read the
Wait, guys, let
exact
him
thing
finish.
over and over again, man.
so
Hold on, let him finish.
I've read the Bible almost 3 times cover to cover, and this is my first time genuinely diving into divinity and the prophecies and everything. Every single time a contradiction, quote unquote, has been brought to me, I've studied it, and 100% of the time, it's been wrong. For
Okay.
instance,
Okay, how
like
about I give you one
Psalms,
right now? I'm going to give you one
Psalms.
right now. Hey,
Okay,
hey, hey,
give it
hey,
to me.
hey.
I'll study it. We'll
Yeah.
see.
Go to
Yeah, and then
Galatians
we do gotta go to the
9:22.
other
Galatians
guest.
9:22
But
says the bloodshed is
Yo, what's
necessary
going on?
for this. Is bloodshed necessary for the atonement of sin? Yes or no?
Okay, I didn't hear you,
I didn't
Jay.
hear none.
Galatians
Is
something.
bloodshed necessary for the atonement of sin?
oh, Forrest, you're very muffled. But he's
Go for it.
Yeah, I gotta go. Thank you so much,
I
bro.
think he said something by Galatians.
I just
Yeah,
recommend reading it,
Galatians
bro. It'll
something.
change your life. Thank you.
Oh yeah, yeah. Follow me. I'll follow you back. And yeah, let me let. Okay, I want to get to Moon, but let me let Trey go, and then Moon, you can go after. Wait, actually, wait, hold on.
Right.
Slave of Christ. Are you a Christian? I think you
Yeah.
are. Ooh, I know all three of you guys want to talk. You guys have been waiting for a while. Let me
I
do
ain't gonna lie, I just got
Trey.
it, bro.
Let me do let me do Trey,
Yeah.
Moon, and then Slave of Christ. But yeah, Trey,
What was the Galatians?
all of my objections against intelligent design. What do you think? Like the sun giving us cancer, human flaws, and like 99% of species going extinct as a fact given evolution. Like how would our universe be designed to support life, and how are animals even designed to live?
I mean, if we go with your arguments, so look like your points that you're pointing out. If all of these things are literally the things that cause us to literally go any type of animal to go extinct, then at this point we'd be all gone by now. A lot of more
Well,
people
like,
would be very dead, and most
well,
likely a small percentage of us would be alive.
like the thing is, like with
That
evolution,
is.
right? It's mutations and change in allele frequency, and like certain animals have the character traits to survive in this world, while others don't. And even for the animals that have the character traits to survive and don't go
Hmm.
extinct and have offspring and pass off mutated genes,
Hmm.
these animals are struggling to survive. Humans have to put on sunscreen so that they don't get cancer from the sun or get sunburned.
Okay.
And then, of
Well,
course,
I do have a question for you on that, right? Who, which of us struggled the most between a bird and a human when it comes to hunger?
I mean, it depends on the habitat and the bird and the human and their habitat as well. I
Would you
think
say a
that,
bird? Would you
like,
say a bird can never find food anywhere he goes, anywhere it
well, like,
goes? Sorry.
I think it depends on the variables. Like, if you have a bird in the jungle, yeah, they can eat berries. They're having like a really good time. But if you find like a kid in Detroit whose parent is on heroin and like they're poor and they need food stamps, then yeah, the human's probably struggling to find food. But let's say that you switch it around. Let's say you find a human in Beverly Hills who's part of a rich family and has plenty of access to food, and
Hmm.
compare that to a bird that is in a habitat where food is not really available and it's fighting with the other birds to get food. And
Hmm.
like, certain birds do starve to death.
Is this
So it
is
really
this Trey the
depends on.
disciple? Real quick.
Oh, no, no, no. But like,
Hold on. No, is
hold
this
on,
Trey the
Oliver.
disciple?
Trey, who?
You.
Are you Trey the disciple?
I don't even know who that
Okay,
is. I
thank
feel like.
God.
Okay, yeah.
Who's that?
But yeah, so it really depends, right? The human is sometimes better off in some cases, and the bird is sometimes better off in certain cases, for sure.
I think both of the scenarios are actually pretty much rationally correct. But what I can tell you is, when it comes to most likely chaos, evil, and destruction, from my standpoint of belief, I would say that when it comes to any type of chaos, meaning people who are homeless, by example, would you say that it is God's fault that they're homeless, or it is the fault of society having that so much money and power that they just choose to not do anything for that evil to
Um,
for them to stay homeless?
I would say my honest answer is I would say both. I think
Both.
that, yeah, I
Okay.
think humans cause evil. Um, Humans cause some evils, and like,
What
humans should
what
not
are
be
what are
bad.
some evils they do?
I think there's well, if we go into politics, like I have my stance, but yeah, I think there's a lot of like capitalism and greed. Of course, I think there's wars that we as the United States should not have fought.
Hmm.
There's racism. Yeah, Black Stallion is naming all of them. There's racism.
Hmm.
There's murder, grape, tons of
Okay.
evil for
Now,
humans.
would you say that God does exactly those same evils as we do?
Uh, yeah,
So he
God
got
does.
politics up there?
God does incredible, horrendous evils in the Bible. There are
Name me
verses
some.
where there, I mean, the Amalekites is one, right? The Amalekites were a
The
terrible
Amal
people.
Oh, the Amalekites. I got
Yeah,
you.
hold on, hold
But
on.
keep going.
Wait,
Keep
wait, hold
going
on.
though.
Yeah, the Amalekites were an awful people. They were doing child sacrifices when it came to the Jews, right?
Hmm.
Um, some of them deserve to be punished. I think the adults that were partaking in these sacrifices deserve to be punished. But what
Then I suppose you're gonna go to the infants.
yeah, what God instructs to the Jewish people is for them not only to wipe out the adults that were doing the evil, but to also wipe out the infants and to also wipe out the animals, oxen, chicken, infants, children, level the ground when it comes to Amalekites. I
Hmm.
think that is literally a genocidal commandment and absolutely horrifically awful to punish innocents for the actions of a few.
the
Okay.
whatever.
But
Well, I'll tell you in your standpoint, it is completely agreeable to you to see it that way. But what I would say to you is, since you brought the context, which is a good thing you did, for the context, which is great, because most people will bring it out of nowhere and just say, yeah, that's that. But let me tell you something, all right? The Amalekites, like you said, throughout the years, they sacrificed, they killed, they abolished the domain, they did a whole lot of bunch of horrible stuff.
yeah.
So counting every single horrible stuff that they've done, and God saying, yeah, y'all guys need to go from one action. Why is he getting more? Why for you is God getting much more credit for doing one action to stop the complete evil that they've been doing, and them doing multiple evils, and God's letting them chance to repent?
Oh, ask that one more time.
For you, why would God do one thing to completely get rid of evil, compared to the Amalekites who done multiple evil a bunch of times while also getting chances to not do it anymore, and warnings? Why would God be the big bad compared to the Amalekites? That's my question.
Oh, so you're saying like the Amalekites committed like more evils essentially over the years than God when he did one genocide?
Yeah, because you call it genocide, so I'm trying to understand
Yeah.
why him doing one thing, because I don't believe it's genocide since the Amalekites are still around in
Yeah,
civilization
so
afterwards.
so
Like in
They're still
his,
around after.
because like
yeah,
it wouldn't be, because genocide, if we go to the definition of genocide, it would
Mhm.
mean really the elimination of the entire
Oh,
civilization,
genocide.
meaning they're all
Yep,
gone.
yep.
oh yeah,
Not one of
Zero
them
people left.
survived. Yep.
yeah. So like that's what God literally instructed, right? So like look, if God instructed
But if
wait, hold
he
on. So
instructed it, but
wait,
it
hold
didn't
on.
Boom, hold
happen.
on, bro.
Wait,
Hold on.
if
1
God
second.
instructed for the Jews to go and wipe out the Amalekites that did the child sacrifice, to be honest, I'm not too opposed to the death penalty. If you take a life, then you get your life taken, right? But the fact that he
Might
also
have.
commanded them to find the children and the infants who are simply just people who had nothing to do with it, and they're a victim of that horrific society. He said, wipe them out too. And then go over to the animals, and the animals weren't doing anything. He said, take the oxen, the ducks, the chickens, everything, like wipe
Yeah.
them out too.
You know why?
And like the thing is, here's the worst part about it.
Mhm.
God is all
Women and
powerful. He
children
could
would have been.
snap them out of existence and make it painless, right? Not that the Amalekites who did the child sacrifices deserve that, but he could
Mhm.
snap into existence and make all of them disappear and make it painless. He instead decided to instruct the Jews to do it. And like, how do you think they did it? They took knives and they walked over to the Amalekites and they were looking babies in the eye, and they have a knife and they're for
Okay.
all of the
I would
babies,
say
all
I
of
would
the
say that's fair,
children,
but let me
all of
ask you
the
this question.
animals, all of the adults as well.
Let me ask you this question though: if God let the Amalekites go, would the infants be safe from them, and most likely would the animals still be alive but not sacrificed by their false gods?
I think it's logically possible for God to allow the infants and the children and the animals to continue to live and come down and interact with all of them and give them good reason as to why he had to
Yeah,
wipe
but the
everything
reason
out
why
for a
the
reason.
infants were involved is because those same infants that came to Earth in their civilization were being sacrificed to false gods. Meaning, if God would have let it happen, those infants would have been sacrificed to God regardless. Meaning they'll be dead regardless. The animals, hold on. The animals, if God would have let the animals live, they would have been used for false gods and be sacrificed for false gods even more. So, in context, the Amalekites, yes, they got extinct. But when it comes to God's decision, when he said to Moses, go to that civilization, kill all the animals and the infants. When he said that, it's because the infants and the animals were used for evil. Meaning God were taking them away, we're taking them in a better place. Because look, God is the creation of all, meaning the infants are also a gift given by God. The animals are creation by God. If God wants to spare the infants and the animals from this evil doing of worshiping false gods and being sacrificed for false gods, God will do it and bring them in a better place, which is heaven. That's my perspective of it and my depiction of it by reading the context. But
Well, yeah.
you can
But
go ahead with what you got to say, though.
Yeah, the issue that I have with it, right, is like
Yes.
if God wants to do it himself, and God doesn't have to snap his fingers. God could speak it into existence and they would just disappear off the face of the earth, right? Like God could have made the entire process painless. And also, like let's say that like the animals and the children were being used for evil purposes. God could have taken care of the individuals that were doing the child sacrifices, but left the individuals that were victims of the child sacrifices, and that would have been totally fine. But God didn't do neither of those. Instead, God instructs the Jews to carry out his sick, twisted, genocidal plan, and the Jews go in and blood hungry rip everybody and everything to shreds. So instead of going out in a peaceful way or like a non-painful way, these people went out and imagine being stabbed and ripped apart and you're alive to feel all of it. That's how they went out. And that was a whole society of individuals.
That are still around, that are still alive
plenty of
afterwards.
other ways God could have done it.
Yeah, you're right. I would say it's very fair to you to say that God could have done it in plenty other ways than what he's done. But if God would have intervened, we would have called him a dictator. The many times that I've heard
That's
people,
not the case either.
hold on,
God intervenes all the time and we don't call him a dictator. He came down as Jesus and helped people to not starve.
And he got
no,
killed.
I was gonna. I'm saying this because I'm saying like the evil in the world is right now, right? Yeah. War, famines, cancer, and all that stuff. If we say God to intervene and eliminate all evil, what would you say that we wouldn't be eliminated with it?
I mean, yeah, like I get what you're saying. Like every human on this planet has done evil.
Committed
So
one
if
evil,
God was to
yes.
wipe out evil, like humans would cease to exist. Sure, but I think that, you know, there's other options to that, right? God could come down and one thing I consider to be evil is mass confusion, right? I think I'm gonna define evil as any like disvalue or
but what are you referencing?
I gotta hold on. Way before you go and answer him, my important question to you is where do you get your morals from?
I like this one.
I'm creating my worldview and I'm still hashing that out. I do run into problems because like I'm a moral subjectivist, but even if moral subjectivists have issues with grounding their morals, there are still atheist views that are based in moral realism. So like there are atheists that believe in moral facts, and these moral facts are going to be grounded in the parameters of reality. But I could study more about this. Please, everybody in this live, go read an article about moral realism. Take everything I'm about to say with a grain of salt. But I think that atheist moral realists could ground their morals in like, you know, moral facts that exist or just aspects of reality. So things that are beneficial for human development and enrichment and thrivement are going to be good. Things that are not beneficial are going to be bad. So a moral realist could hold that like grape under no circumstance is ever a good thing. It doesn't benefit the person being graped. It doesn't enrich them. It doesn't like
So you would
make the
agree it's
world a better
evil?
place. So yeah, there are clearly going to be things for a moral realist that
Wait,
are factually bad and
Okay.
things that are like factually good. But yeah.
Okay, because
why do
if
you
we go
think it's
with
bad
your,
though?
hold on, bro. Because if we go with your moral compass, which is subjective,
Yeah.
it would mean that
You can't
good
go
or
with
evil,
subjective.
by any chance, it can be literally stretched in any way, changed in any way,
Not
or edited in
necessarily.
any way. Meaning, someone can say killing is bad. Another person can say, "Oh, I find killing can be
Yo, I
just
gotta
like
cut in here, bro.
justified."
Yours is
Oh,
subjective too.
but,
Do you realize that?
You can't live moral
but
subjectively.
sure.
All
Let's
morals
do
are subjective.
this. Forest go, and then Moon, I'll let you jump in, and then I'll get back to Trey. But no, but Trey, like literally, the points that you're making are like completely fine. I think they're valid points. And yeah, like I think there's a lot of issues with moral subjectivism.
Mhm.
Yeah,
But
but can we
Actually, I
get to a
really love
point
to.
where
I'd love to continue talking to you even more. Even I find you a very open and kind person. Most likely, you have a very good knowledge when it comes to things, and I do appreciate people with that. So,
I
by
think
any
it's fine
chance,
too.
man, if you wanna still DM and talk at any point, or even have like chats at any points, I'd love to. I'd love to know more about your perspective of life, your perspective of Christianity, most likely, and to exchange both points, because I do love the way you carry yourself. You know what I'm
Oh
saying?
yeah, yeah. I'm more of one of the chill atheists or agnostics, but I
Hey,
mainly
can you two
identify as
get a
agnostic.
room? Can we debate?
Yeah.
Yeah,
We're
my
chill.
fault,
We're
my
chill.
fault. Y'all go
We're
ahead.
chill.
My
You
bad.
guys can kiss each other later. Are
Wait,
you aware, Trey, that all morals are subjective?
That all
what?
morals subjective.
Yeah, all morals are subjective. That's a fact.
Please continue. Elaborate on what you're trying to say.
Yeah, objective means stance dependent. Subjective means stance. Sorry, objective means stance independent, and subjective is stance dependent. So, because your
I
God has
think
a
it's based off
stance,
of real.
your morals are subjective based on your God's conjecture of your stances.
Because I mean, you call it subjective, most likely because I believe you're not a believer, right?
Yeah, he's an atheist,
He's an
but
atheist. Okay, I understand. But
but
what
also
I'd
like
say,
but really quick before you go, yeah,
yeah, go, yeah,
that's a very common critique that atheists have of Christians.
yes,
Christians like to say that like morals derive from God's nature or come from God.
Yep.
But yes, objective morality is going to be stance independent outside of any stances, while subjectivity is going to be based off of people's opinions or
people,
stance
yeah.
dependent. If your morals are coming from God's mind, then like it's stance dependent, so like subjective. But like if it was to be objective, it would have to be rules that are facts outside of God, and God is adhering to a rule set. So it's kind of tricky for the Christian to establish objective morality. It seems as if a lot of Christians are saying objective morality, but describing subjective morality. But yeah, that's a problem. But go ahead, you were gonna respond, Trey.
Yeah. I just have to ask him that. What was the question again? Because I was listening to you. I kind of forgot.
Oh, he was saying that like all morals are subjective, even Christian morals, and then I think you were gonna rebut to that.
Yes. If you say all morals are subjective, then that would mean that by example, the first human being just came to Earth and say, you know what, I'm gonna put this rule in, this rule in, and this rule in, and that would be the good, and that would be the evil. But that's pretty much like not what happened, most likely, because you don't really need. I would say you don't really need a God or a God law to understand what's evil or to understand what's good. Like
Actually, it's a perfect point against your
your moral
religion. Thank you.
compass
That is
literally
a
is
perfect
by
point against your
default.
religion. Amazing.
Your like I was saying, your moral compass is by default already knows what evil and what's good. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter like what opinion or what subjective perspective, like you say, you have. you're still going to think that killing is bad, raping is bad, murder is bad, robbing is bad, and that being kind is good, and being loving is good, and being friendly is good. It doesn't matter whether you have God or not God. Your moral compass is designed that way by default. So if you're going to say that subjectively killing is bad and subjectively loving is good, it doesn't make sense, because who, most likely a human being who's also limited, would come to this conclusion to create all those rules and say at the end, oh yeah, that makes total sense. It needs to be an intelligent mind outside of creation itself to design those rules to even make sense in the first place. Do you get what I'm
And
saying?
you know what it says in Hebrews too?
I would disagree, but
Some
let,
of
let me
your saying,
rebut.
but you can't. First of all, you can't prove that. Second of all, you proved that you can have morals without your God. And third of all, everything that you just named, including rape and murder and all that stuff, your God does all that.
What?
What?
Did I stutter?
No, you
you're
did.
great.
I mean, you
You,
didn't stutter,
you
but
just it just kind of was quiet. The
Do
last
you
parts.
do you do you
at
need
this point, you just
verses or no?
at this point you just
You're,
don't have a counter argument, bro. It's cool. Like it's
That's
cool,
not
but
bad. That's
I'm
not
I'm
bad.
gonna go back. I'm gonna go back to Coco. So Coco,
Yeah,
what's
I would also avoid
you're very
arguing with the
muffled,
person who knows
Bart.
more about the bubble.
Yeah, I couldn't understand what you were
We
saying
hear a
though.
lot of plates, but you're very.
yeah. Like, are you in the kitchen or
He's working.
he's working? I bet.
You're breaking up, bro.
Every negative thing that you just listed, your God does all of them.
Now we hear you.
No, he doesn't.
Now we hear you. But
Everything that your God, everything that
he
you
didn't
just
do that.
listed
Have
that
you read
was
the Bible?
negative, your God did all of
I
it.
don't think he read the Bible.
No,
Oh
I'm
no,
asking him, Moon. I'm asking
I've read
him.
it. I've read it many times, and I know it better than either of you or both of you combined. So
I bet.
Yes.
Do you know about the book of Judea?
the fuck are you talking about?
Look at you there.
The book of
It's not
Judea?
in the canon. It's not in the canon.
Yeah, there's
What
a
is the
canon.
canon to you?
Yeah. So there's gonna be like a 66 book canon. I think, but the Book of
There's an
Enoch and the Book
87
of.
book canon.
But
There's
hold on, hold
a
on.
77 book
Canon, the ones that
canon.
are not in the Protestant Bible.
Yeah. So like the Book of Enoch and probably the book that you're saying are not gonna be a part of like most Bibles. Um, but I mean, go ahead. I don't know the Book of Judea. I've never heard that in my life. I have a Bible right here. By the way,
Yeah,
I
most
question.
likely, I just want to know if Forrest knows about the book of Judea or the book of David.
Yeah. By the way, for fun, I do collect Bible translations. I got the KJV, I got the ESV, I got the NAB. I have
What about the
in which one
Gnostic
do you
Bible?
feel more comfortable with? Like when you read it? Because I ain't
I
gonna lie, NIV is just mine, bro.
I have a ESV study Bible. I refer to that, and I refer to like ESV online whenever I look up verses. But I'm trying to buy this Bible that is supposed to be the Bible that biblical scholars use, and then I want to read the Bible cover to cover once I get that Bible. It's called the NSRV UE.
Oh.
Yeah, I really want that one, and then I'm going to start reading it cover to cover. Scholars use that one whenever they're
Yes,
doing
it
collegiate
is the
work.
one I'm trying to get to. I ain't gonna lie.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm gonna get the Gnostic texts as well.
But okay, actually, Moon, you've been waiting patiently. Sorry, I've been like locked.
Yeah, go ahead, bro.
It's your turn.
Yeah, I'm a good to sleep. I'm working tomorrow. But yo, nice talking to you.
Oh, I thought it was
Nice to meet you.
Yeah.
And yeah, DM me anytime, bro.
Yeah, and also come back. I would like to finish our discussion. It's just we have a lot of guests, but yeah, I would love to.
Yeah, yes sir, no problem, bro. All right, take care, man.
Yeah, follow me. I'll follow you.
Yeah, I followed you, I think.
I bet. But yeah, Moon, what you got? Yeah, you can add on to anything. Yeah, you've been for a while. Yeah, what you got?
I've been adding on to everything. I basically like I hear it, I'm like, sounds like something I would say or not say. I don't know.
Yeah, but
So, where do you think morale comes from? Honestly,
morality.
yeah.
I would say like I'm a moral subjectivist. Like whenever I look at history, I don't
What
see
is
like
subjective? What? I'm sorry. What is subjectivity? I keep forgetting if it's feelings or if it's facts.
Stance dependent. So basically, like, morals are based off of people's stances or opinions, brain states.
So
Uh,
feelings. Okay.
Yeah, whenever I look at history, I don't see moral facts. I look at history and I see Genghis Khan raping half of Asia. I see Hitler trying to
Yeah.
get rid of the Jews. I see, if you go back to early humans, I see cavemen raping, beating each other, stealing grapes. I think
Yeah.
that morality is something that evolved over time. We had to learn things over time. I think we thought that things were correct, but we learned later that they're not correct. We learned that, like, grape causes psychological, like, damage, and we shouldn't do that. We learned that, like, racism was bad. Racism used to be something that was super advocated for and was beneficial economically, but horrifically
Dear
bad
God.
for humans, right? When it
Yeah.
comes to child marriage in the United States, it used to be legal for like a 30-year-old to marry a 15-year-old, but we
Yep.
learned that is terrible for child development and absolutely horrific. So I think, like, over time, like,
And
morals
just immoral.
evolved
Yeah.
and there
Yeah.
was no facts. There was no moral facts whatsoever. We had to learn what was right and wrong given
So
time and
why do
experience.
what do you think Christians are like moral relativists or
But also, wait. For the record, Trey, I'm not saying that, like, for the record, for everybody here, child marriage is not okay, slavery is not okay, grape is not okay. But, like,
Mhm.
historically, humans did terrible fucking things
Yeah.
to each other.
Yeah.
Like,
Hmm.
they had to learn not to do bad things to each other.
For real.
Yeah.
But do you think Christians are like more relativists or they like think out like try to think off of facts or what?
I think Christians try to say that their morals are objective and then ground it in God. But whenever they try to ground it in God, it becomes like stance dependent. And like
Those
I,
people, those people don't listen to them because that's moral relativism. That's not what it
yeah,
is.
it becomes, yeah, moral subjectivism for sure. Like, yeah, because like if God
And
is,
no one
it's
can
like,
live out that life, you know. It's like saying, "Oh, I'm a uh murder
yeah,
someone," and
I,
someone's fine with it. You all have to be fine with it because that's just facts. You know, you can't
but
be mad at
actually,
me for that. You
yeah,
know.
but actually, really quick,